And I'm going to pull up the book. Like before, we're gonna do the book first, and then go into the comics, because we have read the book on stream before, but the comics will be new to us, so, you know, start with what's old and leave the surprises for later. It's been one of those years already, frankly. Like, 2026. 2026, I gotta say. Really, really letting me down. Really letting everyone down, I think. Oh, nice. Yeah, I actually meant to order that one but forgot, but oh well. So, I did get a Yeti shirt recently though, just a few days ago, and I haven't worn it yet. But it was the, like, DK fighting K. Rool one, where it was, like, kind of a more, like, realistic style. Yeah, well, the book's gonna be new to a lot of people, but it is not new to me. But I will try to act surprised. I don't remember all of the details of it, but I remember quite a bit about it. Alright, let's pull that up, shall we? There it is. See, I need to go to a full page spread. Lovely. Yeah, this is a little preview of what's to come, because, boy, they spend a lot of time in the theme park, so they chose an accurate image for the little preview here. What is that number someone has scrawled next to the title, next to the logo? It's like, what? 100. Is that 100? Is that 106? That's what they gave this book 100 out of 100. They graded Michael Teitelbaum on his work, and they gave him 100 for this literature. $1? Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes more sense. Interesting to have that on, like, the inside, though, if this was, like, a used bookstore or something, instead of having, like, a little sticker on the front or something, but... You know, I've seen used bookstores that do it like that, so... That makes sense, you know. You can just, like, erase it later if you want. I guess this person didn't want to, though. Thank you for the streak. Alright. I guess I will get started in just a second here. I feel like I had something else I wanted to say before I jumped right into it, but maybe not. Oh, it was just that, unfortunately, if you don't already know, this is sadly the last novelization that there is. There is not a novelization of Donkey Kong Country 3 or Donkey Kong 64. At least that I'm aware of. There's one out there, let me know, because I've never heard of it, but they made one for Donkey Kong Country and Donkey Kong Land, even though it was really... didn't have much to do with Donkey Kong Land except for having the pigs in it slightly in the Kremdenberg, and Big Ape City, but then they made one for Donkey Kong Country 2, or Donkey Kong Country Rescue on Crocodile Isle, as it were. But they're no more, sadly. So I do not have to figure out what kind of voice to do for Kiddy Kong. I don't have to do like a baby voice because there is not a book about Kiddy Kong. They couldn't write the book about Kiddy Kong because it's just like, you ever tried to write like a fanfic or something? Probably not. And like you're like, I can't live up to this character, you know, like I can't portray this character adequately. Like I fall short of being able to do this character justice and give them what they deserve. And that's how they were with Kiddy Kong. They were like, there's just, we're not up to this task. It's like trying to make a fanfic of like a Shakespeare play or something, and you're trying to like write Hamlet, and you're like, this character is too complex, I can't like... A DK64 novel would be... Okay, here's what they need to do. They would need to make 5 different novels, and like each one is from the perspective of a different Kong, and so you gotta like buy them all. You gotta read them all, like, oh, this is Tiny's side of the story, this is Lanky's side of the story, and so on. That would be sick. And yeah, spoiler alert, Cranky does insult, and, well, he does insult people, but he also inserts himself into this story yet again, despite complaining the whole time and being like, why did I have to do this shit? Even though he didn't have to do this shit whatsoever, he just forced himself in there. But hey, Bia, thank you so much. Same to you. Yeah, you know, we need to write the... We need to get Michael Teitelbaum out of retirement. I don't know if he's still out there. I hope he's doing well. We need to call him up, just like Cranky called up K-Rool, and get him back for one last job, you know? Yeah, you have to try to, like, read the Donkey Kong yellow ink on like, yellow on white, and you're just like... You know, much as, you know, the same way that I got some of the Nintendo powers we had looked at in the past, I think it would be awesome to, like, own these books. It's only $1, apparently. So if, you know, maybe I could order these from eBay or something and just add them to my collection someday, or maybe I could go to my local used bookstore again and again and look in the... I don't even know what section this would be in. The video game novelization section. Actually, my local record store does have, like, a soundtrack section, and they have a little section for video game soundtracks as well, so it might be there, you know? Yeah, I mean, the portrayal of... Cranky is just an easy character to portray, I think, because the portrayal of him in this is pretty good. Same as in the cartoon, I think he was maybe one of the more, like, well-portrayed characters, and more, like, accurate to the games, but, It's kind of interesting that of all of the media where Cranky has appeared outside of games, one of the ones that I think got him, like, less well was the Mario movie. But I don't know. If they make a Donkey Kong movie, they have a chance to do better, I guess. Like, he was... I don't know, like, as a character, he was just, like, whatever, but I just didn't really feel like Cranky, you know? I can't wait to play Jungle Climber again and, like, talk about all of the lore and how it ties into Banandium gems and stuff, because I've only ever played it once. But that game is nuts. We'll get there a long time from now, but... It would be in the religious section? Yeah, that's right. This is basically the Bible. Alright, let's go. Let's read this book, shall we? So let's go back to this... I don't know why, like, all the scans of these books, like, the title page is just really dark. Like, it's the one part that's in color, but it's like it's really dark and, like, the contrast is too high. I don't know. But, we know this art, you know. And the back, gotta take a look at the back, where Diddy's doing his famous point. Diddy loves pointing at things. And... Shiver me timbers! The evil Captain K. Rool has kidnapped Donkey Kong and taken him to the Kremlings' pirate haven on Crocodile Isle. Can young Diddy and Dixie Kong save their famous friend? I like that they used Gloomy Gulch as the background here. It's neat. Just because I like Gloomy Gulch. I was thinking about it, and I always say that Crazy Kremland is my favorite world, because, you know, aesthetically I like the idea of a Kremling theme park. But if we wanted to just go by, like, the levels that are in it, I think Gloomy Gulch is actually my favorite. And I like the aesthetic of that world a lot, too, so it might sneakily actually be my favorite, because Crazy Kremland has Mudhole Marsh in it. I mean, Gloomy Gulch has Web Woods, but I only really hate Web Woods when it comes to speedrunning, otherwise I like it, but... Yeah, it was $3.50 back in the day, but I would say it's worth it, because really, this book is priceless. You can just read it again and again. It's pretty short. You could read it every night before you go to bed if you want to. So, you might even say bananas. Yeah, like, Cranky wasn't in the Mario movie, like, so bad where I was like, oh, this is terribly out of character, but it's just like he wasn't... He needed to be more, you know? Like, he wasn't extreme enough. He needed to be, like, grumpier, and... It's kind of like, you know, in Animal Crossing, the characters used to actually be mean to you sometimes, but now, like, even the ones that are grumpy are just kind of, like, soft and just kind of, like, old people. They're just, like, boomers, but, you know. Alright, let's do it. Once again, by Michael Teitelbaum, and illustrations by Leaf Ping. And this is our last taste of Michael Teitelbaum. I'm afraid to say. I'm sorry to say. I'm sorry to tell you. Especially because we already also read the How to Draw book. So Technically, I think that would be the last in the timeline, chronologically, but we already read that one because it was mostly DKC stuff. Alright. I need to choose the appropriate music here, so this is the beginning. You know, honestly, I should have just also had DK Island Swing on here. I'll put it on loop. Here. This is fine for the beginning, I guess. Alright. 1. Donkey Kong let out a big sigh. It doesn't get any better than this, he thought to himself. He stretched his hairy arms over his head and wriggled his toes in the white sand. The beautiful blue ocean of Donkey Kong Island lay before him. This is basically just the story in the manual. For this paragraph, it's keeping very accurate. It was a bright, sunny day. Donkey Kong was relaxing on a beach chair under a big umbrella. Sipping a cold banana milkshake, he watched the white-capped waves curl into tubes, then gently roll toward shore. Nothing could possibly ruin a day this perfect, he thought out loud. As it turned out, he couldn't have been more wrong. Yeah, idiot. I put it on loop. Come on. There we go. I don't know. Hopefully that stays. Just as he was starting to doze off, he was startled by a sharp whack on the side of his chair. "Who's there?" he yelped, leaping straight up into the air. When he landed, he was face to face with Cranky Kong, his grandfather. Now, in the instruction manual, I'm pretty sure Cranky whacks him on the head, but here he is a little nicer here because he just like whacks the side of his chair to get his attention instead of smacking him upside the head. "Just what in monkey business do you think you're doing, you big lazy ape?" shouted Cranky. "I was trying to have a relaxing day at the beach," replied Donkey Kong, irritated at the interruption. Okay, I don't know why it's... Oh, I see. I have it on, like, loop all instead of loop 1. Alright. The music should actually stay now. Alright. "I was trying to have a relaxing day at the beach," replied Donkey Kong, irritated at the interruption. "And I was doing it, too, until you came along, you meddling old man." "Why, when I was your age," Cranky began, the way he began most of his speeches to his grandson, "I didn't take any days off to hang around the beach. It was work, work, work. Rescue, rescue, rescue." I don't think Cranky, young Donkey Kong, was rescuing that many people, but he always tries to make himself sound like a big hero. But he really... maybe he just got... You know, this fits with the theory that Jungle Beat is actually a young Cranky game instead of You know what? I need to put on some different music for this part. There we go. That's better. That's better. Because this part's gonna be longer than I was expecting, I guess. He rescued Pauline from her job. You know what? I would appreciate if a giant gorilla came and kidnapped me in the middle of my work day. I would have a good excuse to not work anymore that day. Yeah, DK's just, yeah, he knew that someone was gonna illustrate this, so he was making like a duck face for the camera. He's like, I look more attractive when I do this. Another "when I was your age" speech, thought Donkey Kong, sighing heavily. "Why don't you go bother Diddy or something?" he said aloud after a few moments. "Diddy?" snorted Cranky with a disgusted moan. A disgusted moan. Like, he's like, "Diddy? Ugh! Gross! Ew, he's hanging out with his girlfriend. He probably I never hang out with my wife. He has cooties now." You know, his toes were in the sand, but then, like, Cranky came by and he was like, I'm not relaxed anymore. He pulled his feet out. "Diddy? Eh!" snorted Cranky with a disgusted moan. "Ha! These days he's always off somewhere with that girlfriend of his. But don't worry, Mr. Relaxation. I can take a hint. I know when I'm not wanted." Cranky stormed away, muttering things like, "Day at the beach," and "big lazy ape" as he headed for home. Like, God forbid a Kong relax on the beach when you live on an island. Like, does Cranky go around, like, berating Funky for going surfing? Like, come on, man. If you live on an island with a lovely beach all around, take advantage of it. Yeah, this is true. Maybe he thought they were talking about a different Diddy. Donkey Kong just shook his head and settled back in his beach chair. Then he dozed off in the afternoon sun. Later, as night began to fall, Diddy Kong and his girlfriend Dixie Kong returned to Donkey Kong's treetop home. They found Cranky and his wife, Wrinkly, pacing the floor, fretting. "What's up, Cranky?" asked Diddy. "You look even more worried than you usually do." "Don't get sassy with me, you young whippersnapper," shot back Cranky. "I told your pal Donkey Kong that nothing good would ever come from a day at the beach. But did he listen? No. And now this." Also, I just want to point out the little bananas on his, like, beach umbrella. That's a nice detail. "Now what?" asked Diddy. "What's going on?" "What Cranky's trying to tell you, Diddy," replied Wrinkly, "is that Donkey Kong never came home from his day at the beach. He's always home by dark. Cranky's getting worried." Okay, first of all, if I was just trying to relax at the beach and my dad/grandpa kept, like, berating me, maybe he just left. Like, maybe he just, like, was like, fuck it, and he just, like, swam off. He's leaving the island. He wants to just find some other island he can live on. Especially because if he wants to go home at the end of the day and he can, like, reasonably expect his parents to be there waiting for him, like, does this man ever get any peace whatsoever? Because, like, Cranky and Wrinkly were at his house enough to know that, like, he's not home, so, like, do they leave him alone? Can he just, like, have some time to himself? Yeah, they did say it was a banana milkshake, Reiji. True, he can swim as far as he wants. He's just gotta have one of the helpful, like, breath barrels. Alright. "I think I was perfectly capable of saying that myself, thank you," snapped Cranky. "Of course you were, dear," replied Wrinkly. She had learned long ago how to handle Cranky when he was in a bad mood. Isn't that all the time? Well, yeah, which is most of the time. Yeah, she learned how to handle Cranky 100% of the time. "Well, what are we standing around talking for?" asked Dixie. She still was not used to Cranky's personality. Oh no. She didn't know Cranky that well until she started dating Diddy, and now she's gotta put up with this shit. "That's just what I was gonna say," chimed in Cranky. "If anybody around here would let me get a word in." By the time Cranky had finished talking, Diddy and Dixie were already out the door. I don't blame them. On their way to the beach. Cranky and Wrinkly followed close behind, with Cranky complaining the whole time. "If you can't handle me at Cranky, you don't deserve me at my Cranky." The four Kongs soon arrived at the spot where Donkey Kong had spent the afternoon. "Look!" shouted Diddy. He's doing the point right now. This is when he's pointing. "Look!" shouted Diddy, racing through the sand. He pointed at something lit up by the last fading rays of the evening sun. "It's Donkey Kong's beach chair, and it's been smashed to pieces." I like that they smashed his chair. Like, they didn't just kidnap him. They fucking smashed his chair just to send a message. Cranky held a section of the chair in his hands. He's like, "Oh yeah, this is the one I smacked earlier." He shook his head. "I knew it. I just knew something bad would come of this." Cranky is, like, this paranoid about someone just literally spending a day at the beach. Like, why did you know something bad would come of that? Like, it's just the most, like, normal thing in the world. Not far from the beach chair, Wrinkly found Donkey Kong's broken sunglasses. He wasn't even, like, wearing sunglasses, was he? Maybe those are Funky Kong's. Yeah, I don't know. He already, like, took his sunglasses and, like, yeeted them away when he saw Cranky coming. That's how they got broken. He was so mad. Wrinkly found Donkey Kong's broken sunglasses. A bent pole was all that was left of his beach umbrella. No, not the banana beach umbrella, dude. Yeah, the Kremlings are trying to make it look like they'd kidnapped Funky, too. "Look at these," said Diddy excitedly. Cried Diddy excitedly. He pointed to the sand all around the spot where Donkey Kong's smashed up beach stuff had been found. "Footprints! Hundreds of them! Big, gnarly, lizard-shaped footprints! That can mean only one thing." The Kongs looked at one another. Then they said out loud the thing they dreaded most, and the thing that I love most. "Kremlings! I mean, Kremlings!" The Kremlings were a race of nasty lizard-like creatures. Okay, I do want to point out that every book, they do get better at describing what Kremlings actually are. Because, like, in the first book, they didn't describe them as, like, reptiles or lizards or crocodiles or anything like that until maybe, like, 2/3 of the way into the book or something. There was just, like, no description of what they were whatsoever. They were just, like, creatures or monsters or something. I mean, we did have the illustrations, but if you didn't have the illustrations, you wouldn't know. Yeah. They were pirates by trade. They lived only to steal Donkey Kong's precious hoard of bananas. I mean, I think they probably have other goals in life than that. I mean, like, what did they do before all of this, you know? They don't yeah, maybe that's K. Rool's life goal now, but don't judge them all. They have been I mean, I guess they do live for that now, because they used to live to work in the factory, but then Donkey Kong fucking blew it up with people inside, so yeah, now this is all they have. They had been successful several times before. Each time the Kremlings had taken Donkey Kong's bananas, he had set off on a quest to retrieve them. The last time had been a real adventure, and Diddy had joined Donkey Kong in the successful effort to get the bananas back. But this time it appeared that Donkey Kong himself had been taken by the Kremlings. Yeah, got him. Got his ass. Yeah, I bet that's true, Diver. What if someone, like, they didn't even know it was, like, video games. They just had these books. They just thought it was an original book series. Look what I found, shouted Dixie. Her words broke the worried silence that had descended on the Kongs. A note half buried in the sand. Here, listen to this. As the others listened carefully, Dixie read the note. I'd like to imagine she also read it in this voice, because that's what I'm gonna do. To the yellow-bellied, land-loving Kong family. Ha-har! We got the big monkey on Crocodile Isle. If you want him back, you scurvy dogs, you'll have to hand over the banana hoard. The note was signed, Captain K. Rool. The Kongs stared at one another in stunned silence for a few seconds, absorbing the meaning of the note. Then Diddy spoke first. Rool, he snarled. Our old enemy. That big boss Kremling has stolen Donkey's bananas before, but now he's got Donkey Kong himself. I guess we have to give Rool the bananas if we ever want to see that lazy ape again, said Cranky with a sigh. Diddy was shocked. After all the trouble we went through last time to get them back, he gasped. Well, blasted baboon bottoms. Alright then, Cranky, exclaimed Cranky. What else can we do? We can rescue Donkey Kong, of course, said both Diddy and Dixie at the same time. Diddy really is doing the point. It's like, man, I can't believe people thought these books were good enough to turn them into an entire video game series. Alright, I will be able to go to different music soon, I guess, but we have a lot of setup here before we even get to Crocodile Isle. That's so cool. I was just talking earlier about how I kind of want to, like, own all these books myself. I want to, like, order them from eBay if I can. Maybe at some point in the future, though. I've already done a little bit of a collecting recently, so I'll save it. Yeah, Diddy turned his hat backwards. Well, because he's got to be able to look at the thing he's pointing at. That's why he always turns his hat backwards when he points, because he needs to, like, get the full vision of it. Like, he can't have his brim obscuring his vision whatsoever. 2. Rescue, whined Cranky. He shook his head again. Having the R there, he shook his head again in disbelief. Who in the name of monkey madness is going to do that? I am, said Diddy. Donkey Kong would do the same for me. I'm going to Crocodile Isle. If you're going, Dixie said to Diddy, then I'm going with you. I guess I can't just let you two young whippersnappers race off by yourselves, said Cranky. Well, don't worry. I'll take you to Crocodile Isle and get that good-for-nothing lazy grandson of mine back. Gee, Cranky, it's not that we don't want you to come, began Diddy. But, well, haven't you had enough adventures for one lifetime? I mean, you've been rescuing since you were young? Cranky finished Diddy's sentence. Meaning now I'm too old, huh? Come on, Wrinkly, let's go home. You two young'uns go off on this dang fool adventure by yourselves. Why, you won't last 2 days out there, you hear me? Not 2 days! Cranky stormed off. Wrinkly followed close behind. I was trying not to hurt his feelings, said Diddy after Cranky had gone. I guess I didn't do a very good job. Do you think maybe we should let him come? Asked Dixie. Nah, replied Diddy. He'd just keep talking nonstop, telling us how we were doing everything wrong. We're better off without him. Come on, let's go get some rest. We have a long journey ahead of us. The following morning, Diddy and Dixie met at the docks on Donkey Kong Island. There they arranged to borrow a small sailing ship. They loaded it with supplies. I like that, yeah, they're just out here at the famous Donkey Kong Island, like, harbor, just renting a ship from the local ship rental place. I mean, maybe it was just Funky's Rentals, you know? Funky hooked them up. Yeah, Nintendo needs, like, a Switch, like, a Nintendo Classics for, like, all their old novelizations, which are horribly, horribly non-canon. they just need, like, an e-reader service type of thing. Yeah, I mean, they did put docks on Donkey Kong Island in Bonanza. There are piers, so, like, I guess that was inspired. There were some other things in, like, the previous books where it was, like, Bonanza was inspired by this, so there we go. I think we have enough food to last us until we reach Crocodile Isle, said Diddy when he had finished loading the final crate. And I packed the crates to throw at Kremlings, they're back. And I packed a bunch of barrels in case you run into any of those Kremlings, added Dixie. I'm sure we will, Dixie. I mean, no offense, Dixie, but we are literally going to their, like, island where they live, like, where they're from. I'm sure you're gonna run into some Kremlings on the Kremling Island. Dixie, you know, Dixie's very smart, but she had a blonde moment there. He thought briefly about his other encounters with the Kremlings, but quickly shook off those unpleasant memories. The two friends set sail for Crocodile Isle. Alright. Now, finally a music change. Let's go. By the time the sun had risen fully, Diddy and Dixie could no longer see the docks of Donkey Kong Island. The shimmering blue sea stretched out before them in every direction. Diddy used his compass and sea charts to navigate. Alright, Diddy. He didn't realize Diddy was such a seaman. Dixie thought about the huge tasks that lay before them. Like, who taught Diddy to, like, navigate on the open ocean? That's cool. I'm glad he can do that. The Nintendo e-reader. Crocodile Isle. Look inside crocodiles. What are the Kremlings like? She asked. Well, I have a stream series for you. It's called the Kremling Kronology. Every Saturday, pretty much. You can tune in and find out. I've never seen one. I've just heard stories. I don't believe she's never seen one, but okay. She just thought it was like a regular, just like a regular normal crocodile man with nipples, but not a Kremling. Just unrelated. Yeah, I guess Funky taught him how to, like, do all the complicated contraptions of the, like, airship piloting, so navigating a boat is, like, nothing compared to that. They're big and green. They're not, most of them aren't green, actually. Like, a lot of them are green, but, yeah, okay, maybe most of them are green, but a lot of them aren't, Diddy. That's very stereotypical of you. They're big and green and slimy and scaly, replied Diddy. They're mean, but they're dumb. Real dumb. That's what we have going for us. We have simian sense, as Cranky would say. Oh, this is the simian sense book. Maybe Diddy's, like, colorblind. He just assumes they're all green, but he doesn't actually know. He's like one of those people who's colorblind but doesn't realize it yet. Yeah, I mean, some of them might be slimy, especially if they just climbed out of the swamp or something, but I don't think they're by default slimy. They're not like amphibians, they're reptiles, you know? You know, some of them might be slimy depending on if they just, climbed out of the Kremling cart in the last book, but... Dixie laughed. Do you think we should have let him come along? She asked. She was not sure if they had made the right decision. She didn't have to think about it for long. Before Diddy could respond, one of the crates on board began to rock from side to side. Then the top popped open and out jumped Cranky. Let me come along, he yelled. Nobody lets me do anything. I've been doing what I wanted since I was knee-high to a salamander. I'm not about to stop now. Cranky! Diddy and Dixie both exclaimed at once. How did you... Easy, Cranky interrupted. For a monkey with simian sense. I snuck there. He heard them say simian sense, and he's like, I gotta bust out. I gotta, like, you know, claim my catchphrase. I can't let them go around stealing it. Yeah. Yeah, Diddy, I've never seen you, like, build an entire factory. I'm gonna go ahead and put this music on, because we're on the boat, you know? Simian sense counting. Will there be more simian senses than there were ogs in the playthrough last week? I doubt it, but... I snuck into one of your crates about an hour before you showed up at the dock this morning. I wasn't gonna argue with you yesterday about coming along, but I think you'll need my years of experience if you're gonna get Donkey Kong back. Diddy laughed. He felt he could handle this mission without Cranky, but part of him was glad to have the old monkey along. Welcome aboard, Cranky, said Diddy. He patted the older ape on the back. I'm glad you're here too, added Dixie. Cranky nodded. Another adventure, he sighed. Did I ever tell you two about the time I rescued 14 apes from a burning tree? Cranky launched into one of his mini stories. Diddy and Dixie settled back. They knew they had no choice but to hear him out. Well, that's one way to pass the time when you're on a boat, I guess. I think last time I read this, I compared it to, like, Flavio talking nonstop on the ship on Paper Mario, the 1,000-Year Door. Yeah, Cranky was actually suffocating in there. That's why he had to break out. He's like, alright, that's enough. As the day wore on, the small ship made its slow progress across the ocean. But towards sunset, the sky began to darken. That's what happens towards sunset. Inky black clouds moved in quickly overhead. The wind whipped the ship's sails. Oh, I guess it's raining, too. Mm-hmm. What? Okay. Alright. Huh? In, like, 30 minutes. What's going on? Okay, bye. Alright. Sorry about that. Looks like a storm's coming, said Diddy, interrupting Cranky's tale of how he had single-handedly saved an entire continent. Maybe it was a small continent. We'd better... Before Diddy could finish his sentence, the storm struck with terrible fury. You know... rainy level song. Rain lashed the deck of the tiny ship. The strong gale tossed the apes around until it finally pitched them overboard. Down they plunged into the cold green sea. They struggled to hold their breaths. Then, as if things weren't bad enough, from out of nowhere came two menacing faces. Lockjaw the piranha and Shuri the starfish. Two of the Kong's underwater enemies had been following the ship. They were hoping for an opportunity like this. I appreciate the dedication of these two. Just, like, imagine... They've been sailing all day, and I'm just imagining, like, one Lockjaw and one Shuri just, like, chasing after the ship the whole time. Also, I feel like if I saw these two, there's, like, a big discrepancy in how much I would be scared of each of them, because one of them is, like, a piranha with, like, a giant mouth and sharp teeth, and the other is just, like, a starfish. but watch out, because that starfish, can spin at you. Kong's awakening. Lockjaw opened his huge mouth, revealing rows of razor-sharp teeth. Shuri spun like a buzzsaw, both headed straight for the Kongs. I mean, here's the thing. He can spin around all he wants, but, like, even if a starfish spins into you, I feel like that's not gonna hurt that much, you know? Like, maybe he's spinning really fast like a fan blade, I guess is the thing, you know? Don't stick your finger in there when he's spinning around. Suddenly a streaking blue flash appeared from the briny green depths. It's the boy! One of the many boys. A cry of on guard. I like that he just says his name like a Pokemon. Maybe that's why they named him that, you know? Stunned Lockjaw and Shuri, stopping them in their tracks. It was On Guard, the swordfish, a friend of the Kongs. On Guard had helped Donkey and Diddy on their very first adventure together. And he's also French, but I can't do a French accent, so... Alright, we have Lockjaw. We have to play Lockjaw's saga, obviously. This is his saga. This is it. This is it right here. It's only like 2 pages long, but... not much of a saga, if you ask me. Alright, On Guard brought his characteristic breathing barrels that he's always somehow carrying with him. Here, take these, said On Guard, giving special breathing barrels to Diddy, Dixie, and Cranky. The barrels could be used to breathe underwater for an unlimited time. I'll take care of these fishy characters, the swordfish declared. On Guard charged at Lockjaw, crashing into the piranha's huge bottom lip with his long sword-like jaw. Right in the lip, dude! Like, he's got a lip piercing now. Just poked him right in there. Maybe it, like, deflated. You know, I feel like spinning all the way there would take a lot of effort, but I don't actually know how, like, a starfish moves in the water. Do they, like... Can they just, like, swim by, like, kind of, like, doing this or something? I don't know how a starfish, like, swims. I always just kind of imagine they like, crawl along the ocean floor or something. Yeah, you know, he's no Starmie. You know, we've learned how good Starmie is. So... I gotta look up a starfish swimming later. Anyway, so Lockjaw got a lip piercing, but his mouth slammed shut and he swam away, yelping in pain. Shuri spun his pointy little arms at On Guard, who swung his jaw sideways at the starfish. It was like a batter swinging at a pitched baseball. On Guard, yeah, On Guard should have been in, Mario Super Sluggers. Can you imagine, like, he's just, like, standing on his little tail fins, and he's just, like, standing straight up, and he doesn't even need a bat. He just, like, swings his head, and he hits the ball. That'll be in the next Mario baseball game, I hope. It was like a batter swinging at a pitch baseball. On Guard smacked Shuri hard. The starfish shot off like a line drive, disappearing into the murky deep. Lots of sports metaphors for, you know, like, imagining a child reading a novelization based on a video game knows anything about sports. Maybe they do. Are you guys alright? Asked On Guard. Yes, thanks to you, replied Diddy as he breathed through the barrel. How did you know we were here? Word spreads quickly around Donkey Kong Country, TM, explained On Guard. Everyone heard about what happened to Donkey Kong. Those two pests are following you. I decided to keep a close eye on them. Why didn't you just, like... I mean, I guess good guy On Guard isn't gonna attack them until, like, they do something first. He wasn't just gonna preemptively do anything about it. The Kongs remained underwater, breathing through the special barrels. When the storm had passed, On Guard led them back to their ship. It was a bit waterlogged, but otherwise alright. After bailing the water off the deck, the Kongs bid farewell to On Guard. Good luck with the rescue and keep the breathing barrels. You may need them again, said On Guard. Then he leapt from the water in a perfect blue arc and dove beneath the waves. Thank you, On Guard, said Diddy. Thanks for everything. I don't know if there's Thanks Squitter in this book. I don't think Squitter's actually in this book, but we do have Thanks On Guard. The sea returned to its calm state, and the Kongs proceeded on their voyage. As the sun began to set, a large island came into view on the horizon. I'm pretty sure... I mean, I guess they're much further away in this book, because, like, in the games, I think the islands could just, like, see each other. Like, you can just see Donkey Kong Island from Crocodile Isle. The only reason you can't see it in the first game is because, like, the map screen is, like, from the perspective that Crocodile Isle would be. But, yeah, they're I don't think they're that far apart from each other, but in this book, they had to make it epic, so they gotta make a much longer journey. Crocodile Isle ahead, shouted Dixie. She pointed to the sinister-looking island, which grew larger and larger as the tiny ship approached. Diddy noticed that the closer they got to the island, the stronger the currents were getting. Soon the tides were very strong. The ship could no longer be steered. I guess we're gonna land wherever the current takes us, said Diddy. I don't like it, moaned Cranky. Not one bit. I bet Cranky gets seasick. Cranky had good reason to be concerned. The powerful current soon pulled the ship right into Crocodile Cauldron. This was a rocky cove filled with boiling hot lava. As soon as the ship entered the bubbling cove, it burst into flames. I mean, I guess this book actually is explaining why there's, like, ships in Crocodile Cauldron, because, like, I guess the currents just kind of naturally, like, get sucked in there. Now, how the ship has still survived all the time being... Maybe the Kremlings make their ship out of, like, flame-resistant materials. So, you know, they might get wrecked in there, but they will survive. What do we do? Shouted Dixie. Stay on the burning ship or jump into the scalding lava. Oh yeah, all the animal buddies speak in these books. And you know what? I appreciate it. As And when it comes to, like, supplementary non-game materials, like, there's far more evidence for the animal buddies speaking than not, because, you know, I guess they could have just treated them like animals and stuff that... But it's I guess, easier to ride around and more interesting if they talk. The flames on the ship climbed higher. They soon crept up the mast and spread across the deck. "What do we do?" repeated Dixie. "We're doomed," groaned Cranky. "Maybe not," said Diddy. He had spotted something in the burning lava. "Yeah, the Kongs just need to learn how to make their ships out of, like, flame-resistant materials like the Kremlings do. Get good." "Well, if you have a plan, speak up," shouted Cranky. "Don't wait for an invitation to arrive in the mail." "Look at the lava," began Diddy. "Do you see all those crocodiles poking their heads up?" Dixie and Cranky nodded. "I think we can use the crockheads as stepping stones to make it to land," Diddy explained. "So we become crocodile snacks instead of crispy critters," whined Cranky. At that moment, the deck of the flaming ship split in two. There was no more time for discussion. The Kongs had to act. Yo, what if, according to this book, the ship that you're in Crocodile Cauldron, is just this ship that the Kongs rode there? Whoa. I mean, that doesn't really make any sense, considering they start on the Gangplank Galleon anyway, but... Rambi was supposed to yell his name. I don't think I've ever heard that. I've heard all of the weird, like, Armadillo voice clips, but... You know what's really funny is, the Rambi scream that gets used in the Rambi music for DK64, which I think is only used in that song, but that just, like, random, like, rawr! Lots of Donkey Kong 64 randomizer music composers use that scream in, like, various ways for, like, orchestra hit noises. It's surprisingly versatile what you can do with, like, the Rambi scream of all things, but we were just talking about it in the Discord recently. Like, it gets used, like, for instance, if you can imagine, like, the Metal Mario song from SM64 and the, like, the instrument that is, like, the main melody there, like, the Rambi scream was used for that. Like, it's pretty funny how just that random specific thing can be so useful. Alright, at that moment, the deck of the flaming ship split in two. There was no more time for discussion. The Kongs had to act. Diddy, Dixie, and Cranky leaped from their burning ship just as it disappeared into the boiling lava. Each Kong landed on a different crocodile. Alright, Kong, save some for the rest of us. Diddy and Dixie hopped from crockhead to crockhead, moving toward the shoreline of Crocodile Cauldron. Dude, this pic is, like, really epic. Look at this. I gotta say, Leaf Pang really stepped up the illustrations in this book. Like, there's a lot going on. This one has my favorite illustration. We'll look at it later, but I do want to also point out that the Kong's ship, by the way, looks like a barrel and has a banana for a bow, and that is... I don't even think I noticed that the last time we were reading this, but that is really funny. That's... Dude, Leaf Pang was fucking cooking. Like, on top of the game. Like, you know, once again, foreshadowing Bonanza with, like, everything being banana-themed and stuff wherever you could fit it in. Yeah, Diddy is no longer pointing at things, so he turned his hat back around. "It's working," said Dixie. "The crocs are letting us use our heads as stepping stones." I mean, I don't know if they're, like, letting you, but you're just kind of doing it. The thing is, okay, crocodiles actually have really, you might know this, but they have, like, really weak strength for opening their jaws. Like, the muscles in a crocodile's, like, jaws are really strong for snapping down, but they don't have a lot of, like, strength for like, opening it. So you can keep a crocodile's jaws closed, like, relatively easily. So if they're just, like, stepping on these, like, what are they gonna do about it? Only the red ones or the brown ones have, like, immense jaw strength that can, like, spring you up, but most of them can't. I'm going to listen to this later, but then we will save our full explanation of, or exploration of this kind of stuff for when we're looking at DK64. The DK64 section of this series is going to be, like, so much fun, because there's, like, so much random, like, beta stuff out there for the game, in addition to so much, like, random-ass, like, supplementary material with the most insane, like, stuff that, you know, that's how we get Tiny being a tax official and all that kind of thing, so. Well, it's because crockheads are actually, like, pals, you know? They're just chillin'. They're Kremlings in name only, perhaps. Like, they're just here to vibe, you know? They don't want anything to do with the rest of this pirate nonsense and whatever. You two go on, shouted Cranky. He was struggling to keep his footing. I don't think I'm gonna make it. Cranky stumbled and started to fall toward the lava. Cranky, Diddy cried, looking on helplessly. Suddenly, a green blur of wings swooped down and grabbed Cranky just before he hit the boiling lava. Squawks, Diddy declared happily. It was the parrot who had helped Donkey and Diddy on their other adventures. Yeah, now he is strong enough to carry a whole Kong instead of just a flashlight. So that would be surprising. He's grown up a bit. Squawks deposited Cranky safely on land. Okay, there's gonna be more Squawks. I was like, maybe he just does that and leaves. He's like, I will save your life, but I'm not gonna stick around to listen to you, Cranky. Bye. Squawks deposited Crankly safely on land. A few minutes later, Diddy and Dixie joined them. Are you alright, Cranky? Asked Dixie as she leaped from the last crockhead to shore. I told you it was a dang fool plan hopping on crocodile heads, complained Cranky. But he was actually quite grateful for the rescue. Like, well, did you have a better idea, Cranky? You were just, like, standing there moaning about how everyone was gonna die and you were doomed. Like, come on, man. At least Diddy thought of something. The last time I saw you, you were holding a flashlight to light the way for Donkey Kong and me, Diddy said to Squawks. My power has grown since then. Dude, that is the most badass thing Squawks could possibly say in this moment. My power has grown since then, replied the parrot. And he doesn't sound like Toad anymore either. He sounds like this. I can now lift monkeys and transport them through the air short distances. Good thing, too, said Cranky. This was as close to saying thank you as he would ever come. Where's Donkey Kong? Asked Squawks. Diddy quickly explained what had happened. He told Squawks of the purpose of their quest, the Kong quest. They may have taken Donkey Kong to Gangplank Galleon, Squawks guessed. That's K. Rool's old pirate ship. It washed up on shore and is no longer seaworthy. It's a logical place for Rool to be hiding Donkey Kong. Even though the ship doesn't travel the seas anymore, it's still manned by a scurvy Kremling crew. With a C. Unreal. Then that's where we'll start, said Diddy. The Kongs thanked Squawks for his help. The parrot gave them directions to Gangplank Galleon. Then he flew off, wishing them luck. The three Kongs followed Crocodile Isle's craggy coastline. Alright, back to this music. The red, yellow, and orange lava soon gave way to shimmering blue water. Now this looks like a coastline ought to look, said Cranky. He felt much calmer now after their rude welcome to the island. I mean, according to you, Cranky, no one's allowed to enjoy the coastline, so, like, how would anyone know how a coastline's supposed to look? Craggy coastline, yeah, that was a scrapped level idea. Squawks does kind of look like he has a mustache. It's just like his cheek, but maybe he's the real French one. Ungard is just a fraud. He's got the little, like, mustache. A short while later, Diddy spotted a pirate ship floating in a beautiful blue-green cove. That's it, he said. Gangplank Galleon. You know, I like that no one calls it the Gangplank Galleon or anything. It's just Gangplank Galleon in italics. I recognize Rool's ship from my first banana rescue mission with Donkey Kong. Hard to believe that such a pretty place could be crawling with Kremlings, said Dixie. Come on, let's see if we can sneak on board. Diddy, Dixie, and Cranky made their way to the ship. They kept low and hid behind the shoreline growth as they scurried along. When they reached the ship, Cranky looked up at the gangplank. Alright, they're at the ship now. Back to this. How in the name of monkey madness are we going to get on board, he asked. We can't just stroll up and say, hey there, Kremlings, we're here to rescue our friend. That's what I would do. Yeah, the two different flavors of French. I've got an idea, said Diddy. Follow me. He slipped into the water and swam toward the far side of the ship. Dixie and Cranky followed. Now I'm wet, complained Cranky as he followed the others. Alright, Cranky, get over it. Shh, they'll hear us, warned Dixie. Cranky grumbled to himself but continued to swim. When they reached the far side of the ship, the three Kongs climbed up and peered over the railing. The deck was crawling with Kremlings. So that's what they look like, whispered Dixie. Yuck. Oh, come on, Dixie, please. We need to distract their attention so we can slip on board, said Diddy. He was enjoying his new role as leader of the little group. He's leader of the bunch. You know him well. I think we need your ponytail here, Dixie. Dixie had a long ponytail that she could use in several different ways. When she attached a barrel to it and spun it around, it acted like a slingshot. It could toss the barrel great distances, and by spinning her ponytail like a helicopter blade, she could fly for a short period of time. Here, said Diddy. He handed Dixie a miniature exploding barrel. Fling this to the other side of the ship. With any luck, all the Kremlings will move to that side when it goes off. Okay, I thought he was gonna be like, with any luck, all the Kremlings will get blasted to smithereens, just like my pal Donkey Kong would want. But I guess he's being, like, nice here, and he's just flinging it to an unoccupied side of the ship to distract them. Good guy, Diddy. Yeah. Dixie wrapped the end of her ponytail around the small barrel. She began to swing the ponytail around and around. When she'd gotten up enough speed, she flung the barrel. It landed on the opposite side of the ship. The barrel exploded with a dull thud. It sent a fine spray of water high into the air. Panic broke out on the deck. All the Kremlings raced to see what had happened. Here's our chance, said Diddy. Let's go. In the midst of the pandemonium, Diddy, Dixie, and Cranky climbed over the railing. They snuck on board and began their search. They had covered almost the entire deck with no luck when they heard a strange squish clomp, squish clomp, squish clomp sound. It was coming closer and closer. Why is Clomp's non-peg leg foot so squishy? Like, did he step in something earlier? Someone's coming, whispered Dixie. Let's hide. But it was too late. Clomp the Kremling had gotten his name because of the sound made by his one peg leg when he walked. The squish was the sound of his other slimy reptile. Why are they all so slimy, man? Now he turned a corner and stood face to face with the Kongs. If his other foot is so slimy, you'd think he'd be, like, slipping all over the place. Monkeys, he shouted. Hey, everybody, we have monkeys on board. Time for action, Diddy cried. He went right into his cartwheel attack, sending Clomp spinning head over feet. Or foot, because he only has one. When Clomp landed, his peg leg got stuck in a hole in one of the deck's planks. Oh, that's embarrassing. Hey, no fair, Clomp complained as he tried in vain to free his leg. One down, said Diddy. About 1 million to go. Wow. that's a lot of Kremlings for one boat. I mean, the Gangplank Galleon is, like, ridiculously big, so. Yo, Malik, how's it going? Kremlings swarmed to the lower deck as the battle raged. Dixie flung exploding barrels at a group of charging Kremlings. They took the creatures down like bowling pins. I think something was described as being like bowling pins in one of the previous books, too. All except for one Kremling named Kaboing, who bounced around on spring-loaded legs. Kaboing bounced up to a high ledge near the top deck. He was just in time to miss the impact of an explosion. This Kaboing is the green one, I can tell, because he's real saucy. He's got an attitude. He's the hehehe one. Ha! He taunted from above. Missed me! Time for a little teamwork, Dixie, said Diddy. And plus because he pauses for a second and isn't jumping around constantly, so you know it's the green one. I'm with you, Dixie replied. Diddy leaped up onto her shoulders. Yo, the, like, foreshortening here. Sick image. She tossed him toward Kaboing. Here, you dropped this, said Diddy, handing Kaboing a barrel. Thank you, replied the Kremling as the barrel blew up in his face. Damn. I told you the Kremlings were dumb, said Diddy when he landed next to Dixie. Nice grass skirt, also, that he's got going there. Suddenly, a Kremling named Klinger, yo, Klinger mentioned, dropped down, using a rope from above. He landed right next to Cranky. Hey, I got the old monkey, Klinger shouted as he wrapped his arms around Cranky. Who are you calling old, Krembum? Asked Cranky. Yo, Krembums. I'll show you. He smacked Klinger on the knuckles with his... I thought it was gonna... I don't know why, but I thought it was gonna be like he smacked Klinger on the butt. He smacked Klinger on his Krembum. I mean, Klinger doesn't have, like, much of a butt. He's like the skinny one, you know? The Kremling let go, yelping in pain. So I guess it would hurt all the more if you smacked him on his, like, skinny ass, because there's not much cushion there. You know what? Hold on a sec. Sorry, give me just 1 minute here. There we go. All right. Cranky sidestepped Klinger's next attack and struck him on the back, knocking the Kremling overboard. Like this. There we go. You know what? I should have been doing this the whole time, but I'm sure there will be plenty of other opportunities. That'll teach you to call me old, said the Elder Kong. Hey, the Michael Teitelbaum is also calling you old. You gonna like break the fourth wall and beat him up? I know you can break the fourth wall, Cranky. He's daring you to do it. Yeah, in modern editions of this book, they would have to edit out Krimbum. It's too offensive. Diddy, Dixie, and Cranky were in high gear. They cartwheeled, barrel-tossed, ponytailed, and cane-thumped their way through the Kremlings. Soon they had defeated all the pirates on board Gangplank Galleon. There, just imagine that like 500 times. Wow, great teamwork, exclaimed Diddy, exchanging a high five with Dixie. Nice work, Cranky, said Dixie. I still got a few good moves left in these old bones, bragged Cranky. You youngsters didn't do so badly either. The Kongs resumed their search of the ship, but soon realized that there was no sign of Donkey Kong anywhere. All that for nothing? Asked Cranky dejectedly. Wait, shouted Dixie from across the deck. I found something. Diddy and Cranky joined Dixie. She was standing in front of an open pirate treasure chest. The decaying chest was filled with old papers and cobwebs. Dixie had been rummaging through the papers. She was looking for some clue as to where the Kremlings might be holding Donkey Kong. What she found was a pirate map of the island. A map, exclaimed Diddy, eagerly looking over the yellowed piece of paper. The map showed all the various locations on the island. Most important, it showed the way to Captain K. Rool's keep. Yeah, go up, dumbass. Look up. This heavily guarded fortress was Rool's lair, his headquarters. It was the center of his operation of banana thieving and now Kong napping. K. Rool's keep, said Diddy, pointing to the drawing on the map. Diddy's always pointing. We need a Diddy pointing count. Look at that place. Even the picture is scary. This guy saw the render of Diddy pointing and was like, that's his thing. He's always pointing. That must be where Rool is keeping Donkey Kong, Dixie decided. She was beginning to feel like they hadn't hit a dead end after all. That place looks like a monkey barrel full of trouble to me, said Cranky. Besides, how in the name of simian sense... Who's doing the simian sense count? Are we gonna get inside, if we even make it there? We'll have to figure that out when we get there, replied Diddy. This didn't make Cranky feel much better. With a tiny kernel of hope and a growing sense of dread, the three Kongs left Gangplank Galleon. They headed out to find K. Rool's keep. Dixie acted as navigator. She read the map and led the way. The trail indicated by the map took them away from the coastline into the dark heart of Crocodile Isle. A narrow path led through a thickly wooded area. The foliage grew more and more dense as they traveled inland. Soon they were in a deep forest filled with towering trees that blocked out the sunlight. Are we in the forest already? Alright. Give me a sec. These, songs are out of order. There we go. What a dark and gloomy place, observed Dixie. Huh, you call this dark? Snorted Cranky. Why, I was once in a forest so thick that the sun didn't make it through the treetops for 3 whole days. Yep, 3 days it stayed black as night around the clock. Cranky continued to tell stories of his glorious past. Dixie, however, noticed that the ground was getting softer, wetter, and more squishy. Be careful, she said to the others. It feels like we're heading into a swamp. Okay, that was short-lived. Checking the map, she added. We must be getting close to Kremlings. That's the biggest swamp on Crocodile Isle. Moments later, the Kongs reached the edge of Kremlings. Half-sunken Kremling pirate ships jutted out of the green, murky water. Insects skimmed across the top of its soupy, slimy surface. Yeah, this is why the Kremlings are always so slimy. They're just hanging out here most of the time in the swamp. Snakes slithered along the swampy shore. Ooh, that's a tongue twister. Snakes slithered along the swampy shore. Yuck, Dixie exclaimed. What do we do now? The key extends as far as we can see. There seems to be no way around it. Then I guess we go through it, replied Diddy. Through it, bellowed Cranky. How are we gonna manage that? We salvaged the underwater breathing barrels that On Guard gave us, said Diddy. We can use them to cross the key underwater. That was some quick thinking, Diddy. I know the ship was on fire, but he made sure to grab the breathing barrels. Alright. Break time. I need to go up and take care of something real quick, and it's also the ad break, so I will be back in a minute. Please enjoy this music because it, you know, it really never gets old. Let's see. Alright, well, I know Cranky was talking about his time in the dark forest, so... Oh, alright, we were over here. Alright. Dixie leaned over, cupped her hands, and brought up a handful of the slimy green slop. She opened up her hands. The swampy soup oozed between her fingers. It returned to the surface with a sickening plop. There's only one problem, Diddy, she said, wiping her hands on her vest. I guess a vest is what she's wearing. How will we see where we're going through all this stuff? We could get lost and be swimming around in here forever. Diddy sighed. He knew that Dixie was right. He felt stumped. We could sure use some help, he said softly. It's Glimmer! Now, I do remember in this book that Glimmer, like, speaks as if he isn't talking to another creature, like, his whole life, basically. Also, I like that the Neeks are underwater, and I like that, yeah, the breathing barrels, you really just do, like, stick them right in front of your mouth. Cranky, okay, the other two look like they have it in front of their mouths, but Cranky looks like he just, like, shoved the whole thing in there. Like, that's probably just, like, an illusion from the way it's drawn, but it looks like he has it in, like, like, Cranky doesn't know how to use this newfangled contraption. He just shoved it in his mouth. Help, said a thin voice that seemed to be coming from the key. Help, it repeated. Who's there, Diddy asked bravely, looking around for the source of the voice. Over there, Dixie declared. She pointed to one of the sunken pirate ships. Look! Diddy and Cranky spotted a bright light flashing through the water near the ship. Yeah, a bright light flashing through the water. I hope none of them have, like, you know, seizure, epilepsy sensitivity. The light rose to the surface, and the Kong saw that it was extending from the head of a large brown fish. He popped up out of the water and shone the beam right at the Kongs. I guess that's grammatically correct, and shone the beam right at the Kongs. Who are you? Asked Diddy. Glimmer, replied the fish. Glimmer, help monkeys, light. What's he saying? Muttered Cranky. I think he's offering to help us, replied Dixie. He'll light our way across the key. Follow, said Glimmer. Then he turned and dove back under the water. The Kongs placed their breathing barrels in their mouths. Then they jumped into the thick, disgusting water. Everything was dark green and brown. It was impossible to see a thing until Glimmer flashed his light in front of them. Following Glimmer's narrow beam, Diddy, Dixie, and Cranky slowly made their way across Crimkey. They were almost on the other side, when suddenly a group of huge rats appeared from out of the murky depths. They were swimming right for the Kongs. Yeah, I like repurposing Neeks into an aquatic enemies. What are they? Asked Dixie. Neeks, replied Glimmer. Neeks, underwater rats. Man, if I read this book first and then found out that they made a whole video game based on this book, I would be disappointed when the Neeks were not in the water. The Neeks closed in on the little group. They bared their sharp teeth. Dixie whirled her ponytail at top speed, and also that you can't attack with the ponytail underwater. When the Neeks came close enough, Dixie's twirling ponytail slammed into several of them and sent them spinning away. Cranky took care of the last few Neeks with his cane, and the Kongs finished their journey across the key. On the far side of the swamp, they emerged from the water covered with slime. This is really gross, said Dixie. At least we made it across, replied Diddy. He thanked Glimmer. The strange fish with the helpful light turned and disappeared silently into the green, soupy swamp he called home. After a quick rinse in a nearby waterfall, that was convenient, the disheveled Kongs continued on their journey towards Rool's Keep. The thick forest soon gave way to a more open landscape. In the distance, the Kongs spotted something that looked like an old city. But as they moved closer, they realized that what they were approaching was not a city after all. It was a rundown amusement park! Let's go! I hope you like the roller coaster song, because we're going to be in Crazy Kremland for a while. The sign read, Crazy Kremland! Within its fences, Diddy, Dixie, and Cranky saw rides, carousels, a midway filled with games of chance and skill, and a huge Ferris wheel covered with brightly colored lights. Yeah, I think there were like at least 5 Ferris wheels. There was also a giant roller coaster that was obviously in need of repair. Will you look at this place, said Dixie as they entered the park. Who would have thought that Kremlings were interested in having fun and going on rides? Come on, guys, you really need to break out of your stereotypes here. I can't believe people are interested in having fun. I think pretty much everyone is interested in having fun. Yeah, the sign read Looney Goonland. I thought all they were interested in was stealing our bananas, replied Diddy. Things aren't always what they seem, added Cranky nervously. Let's be careful. This could be a trap. You should listen to the old monkey. I didn't know who that was. Oh, it's Cruncha, okay. You should listen to the old monkey, said a voice from behind. The three Kongs spun around. They found themselves face to face with a massive, muscle-bound Kremling known as Cruncha. Cruncha is the like main Kremling of this book, by the way. We're gonna be with him for a bit, so prepare yourselves. You monkeys are coming with me! It's action time again, shouted Diddy. He pulled out an explosive barrel and tossed it at Cruncha, but the huge Kremling simply caught it in one hand. Like, sup. The barrel exploded, but Cruncha just laughed. He wiped off his hand on his shirt. Dude, what a fucking badass. I thought he was gonna get mad. That's kind of his thing, but no. Maybe Cruncha is secretly Crusha after all. Yeah, it squawks. You can't hurt me, Cruncha bragged. No one can! We'll see about that, cried Dixie, taking up the challenge. She leaped onto Diddy's shoulders and he launched her right at Cruncha. She hit the Kremling head first in the chest with her ponytail spinning at top speed. But she just bounced. You actually can defeat them by doing this, by the way, so I can't believe Michael Teitelbaum would lie to me. He's never done that. Landing at Diddy's feet. That's never happened to me before, said Dixie. Yeah, just like Michael Teitelbaum lying to me. She was a bit shaken up. I told you so, Cruncha said, laughing at the attack. Well, how about this? Yelled Diddy, going into his cartwheel attack. This was his most potent weapon. Diddy cartwheeled right into Cruncha, but the powerful Kremling just reached out and grabbed Diddy's ankle, stopping his spin. Then he tossed him back towards the others. He, like, tossed him by the ankle. That's gotta, like, yeesh. He's gonna dislocate his leg. He's right, said Diddy, getting to his feet. Our attacks against him are useless. They just make me mad, snarled Cruncha. Now no more playing! Okay, guys, let's take them. A group of 10 Kremlings stepped out from behind a tent. They fell in behind Cruncha. Party's over, monkeys, said the muscle-bound leader. Time to come with us. Run, shouted Diddy. He hoped this would buy them. I think this is the chapter with, like, the best illustration of all time. He hoped this would buy them some time to come up with a plan. Dixie kept up with Diddy, who ran at top speed. Cruncha and the other Kremlings gave chase. Cranky moved as quickly as he could, but he lagged behind the two younger monkeys. Come on, Cranky! Take it to the fridge! Called Diddy as the older Kong struggled to keep up. I never agreed to run! Complained Cranky. He was huffing and puffing as he pushed himself along. That was never part of the plan! Goes on an epic adventure. Has to run at least once. Is surprised. Diddy and Dixie turned onto Crazy Kremland's main midway. Booths were set up along both sides of the long alley. A few minutes later, Cranky showed up. I can't run anymore. I have to rest. You two go on without me. Don't be silly, Cranky, said Dixie. We're not going to leave you. Then Dixie heard the Kremlings approaching, and then she's like, just kidding. Well, bye. We've got to do something. They're almost here. In there, said Diddy. He pointed to one of the game booths. The Kongs scrambled over the front ledge of the booth. Then they ducked down out of sight. Along the back wall of the booth was a series of large plastic monkey heads with huge open mouths. On the ledge above the Kongs sat a collection of water pistols. This must be one of those games where you have to shoot a stream of water into the monkey's mouth. What a extreme. What? Why? Okay. Alright, Kremlings, why do you got this game specifically? I guess they don't like monkeys very much, huh? Asked Dixie. You know, you'd think you'd have to, you know, maybe shoot like a blunderbuss at the monkeys or something, but no. You shoot a stream of water into— this really is Looney Goonland. Into their mouths. Dang right, said Cranky. They've been bothering us for years. Still, I had no idea that we were the targets in their shooting games. That's downright insulting. Why, this is how, Cranky, he gave Swanky the idea for the game in DKC3, which this book kind of predicted, I guess. It's just, you know, they were like, oh, you're gonna do that to us? Well, guess what? We can do it to you. Shh, Cranky, interrupted Diddy. I hear them. The Kremlings rounded the corner and turned onto the midway. Could have sworn they came down here, said one of the Kremlings. Look, shouted Cruncha, there they are! The three Kongs froze in fear. Cruncha was hovering right over them, standing in front of the booth. Diddy, Dixie, and Cranky pressed their backs into the ledge that just barely hid them. That's not them, Cruncha, the Kongs heard another Kremling say. Those are the plastic monkeys from the water shooting game. Oh, replied Cruncha, who was as dumb as he was strong. I thought their mouths looked kind of big. We better search one of these booths, said the other Kremling. Might as well start right here in this monkey squirting, but don't call it that! I'm tired of these monkey squirting snakes. Realizing they were about to be caught, Diddy leaped up. He grabbed one of the water guns and started to spray the Kremlings. The startled lizards were blinded for a moment by the stream of water. Diddy's just spraying all over him. He's going flood mode on these fools. The three Kongs climbed from the booth and were back on the run. Near the end of the midway, Dixie spotted another booth. In this one, rocks were supposed to be thrown at a line of monkeys climbing a plastic tree. The monkeys in this booth looked much more like real monkeys than those in the water squirting booth. This gave Dixie an idea. The Kongs jumped into the booth. They climbed onto the plastic tree, holding as still as they could. When the Kremlings arrived, they stared at the tree full of monkeys for several tense minutes. We're going to get away with it, thought Diddy. He strained to hold his pose. The tension was broken by Cruncha, who picked up one of the rocks. Hey, he said, getting distracted from the chase. I've never played this game before. I'm going to try it. I'm going to go for that old monkey. He looks just like one of those Kongs we were chasing. Then Cruncha fired a rock at Cranky. He hit him right in the head. Dear God, dude, if you, like, hit an old man in the head with a rock, like, thrown from an extremely muscular guy, like, Cranky's getting a concussion at the very least. Yeah, I've known that for a long time too. Yow! Yelled Cranky as he fell from the tree. This is a good game, said Cruncha. Those fake monkeys are very lifelike. They even have sound effects. Yeah, Cruncha's giving this game a 5/5 review on like crazy Kremland backlogs. Diddy and Dixie jumped from the tree to see if Cranky was alright. It just grazed me, whispered Cranky. I'm fine. But it looks like we're caught. Maybe not, said Diddy. He quickly grabbed one of the stuffed Kremlings that were given out as prizes. Damn it! Why does crazy Kremland have to no longer exist and also not be real in the first place? I would gladly go throw some rocks at some monkeys to get the stuffed Kremling prize. And it was canon because he's very stuffed. Then he put on the carnival barker's straw hat he found under the counter. Stepping up to Crunchy, he handed him the stuffed Kremling. A nice shot there, son, exclaimed Diddy. Here's a gift for the little Kremling at home. Care to try another throw? He's implying Crunch as a father. Diddy handed Crunch another rock. He then slipped out the back of the booth. Dixie and Cranky followed close behind. Hey, boss, said one of the other Kremlings. Not no, snapped Crunchy. Can't you see I'm trying to win another prize? But, boss, those weren't fake monkeys, said the Kremling. He was growing frustrated with his leader's thick-skulled ways. He knew that Cruncha was in charge because of his muscles and his invincibility, not for his intelligence or leadership qualities. Damn it. Those are the Kongs we were chasing. So, I feel like this Kremling has a good future ahead of him because he's gonna, like, usurp Cruncha at some point. Like, he's getting frustrated with the fact that he is not valued for his, not valued for his intelligence or leadership qualities. Monkey squirting. Sorry, I don't know that Crunch is not a father, I don't. It's kind of a wild assumption to make, though. I mean, he's a daddy. It took another few seconds for this concept to sink in. Then Cruncha got angry. Nobody makes a fool out of Cruncha, he bellowed. It's too late to say that, said the other Kremling under his breath. The Kongs had already slipped from the midway. They were wending their way through crazy Kremland, trying to find a way out. Let's take the secret underground passageway, said Cruncha. It was one of his rare good ideas. The Kremlings made their way to a large rock not far from the midway. Cruncha used his tremendous strength to lift the rock. Beneath it, a tunnel led into the ground. The Kremlings hurried into the tunnel. Diddy, Dixie, and Cranky had come to a group of buildings right in the middle of the amusement park. I don't see any exits, said Dixie. We seem to have lost the Kremlings, but how do we get out? I think I talked about this last time we read this, but I like that Crazy Kremland apparently has, like, this underground network like Disney World does, where, you know, there's actually, like, this huge underground, like, backroomsy part of Disney World and, like, all of the Disney parks where that's how, like, the cast crew members get around, is just, like, under the park, basically, and then they can come up and there's, like, various exits that they come out of. I like that Crazy Kremland has that, too, apparently. This book is a rare good idea. You don't get out, boomed a deep Kremling voice from behind them. The Kremlings had reappeared at the other end of the underground tunnel. It led out through a false tree trunk right next to where the Kongs were standing. Diddy spotted a sign on one of the buildings. In there, he shouted, quickly! The Kongs dashed into the building marked House of Mirrors. Once inside, they found themselves in a baffling maze. Yo, there it is, of glass. Let's stay together, Diddy said. If we split up, we may never find each other again. They started to make their way through the passages. All the Kremlings had to do was wait for the Kongs to come back out of the building. But Cruncher was so furious at having been fooled that he dashed into the House of Mirrors. He ordered his troops inside with him. Within seconds, the Kremlings were hopelessly lost inside the glass maze. I see one, shouted Cruncher. He spotted Diddy just a few feet in front of him. I've got you now, monkey, he raged. Cruncher charged at Diddy. Only it wasn't Diddy he was racing toward. It was Diddy's reflection in a mirror. Cruncher hit the mirror full force. It shattered into 1,000 pieces. Missed me, taunted Diddy. He stuck out his tongue and wiggled his tail at Cruncher. This made Cruncher even angrier. Again, he charged at Diddy. Once again, he smashed into a mirror image of Diddy, shattering the glass. Just like, this image is just so crazy. There's just so many reflections of Diddy. And somehow, they're all doing different things, despite the fact that, like, if he was being reflected, it should all just be doing the same thing at the same time. But, like, It's truly like Diddy is some kind of, like, trickster god tormenting Cruncher. Total confusion broke out. The Kremlings stumbled around the labyrinth of mirrors. They bashed in the glass and each other. Diddy, Dixie, and Cranky slowly and carefully found their way through the maze and quietly slipped out the back of the building. Yeah, I don't know. I just love this image so much. He put so much effort into it. Just being, like, tormented by the image of Diddy Kong over and over again. The Kongs raced off and began looking again for a way out of the park. Good move, Diddy, said Dixie. They could be in there bumping into mirrors for hours. On the other hand, began Cranky, pointing behind them. Look! Crunch and the other Kremlings were emerging from the House of Mirrors. They seemed more determined than ever. How did they get through the labyrinth so quickly, wondered Diddy. They were totally lost in there. Inside the House of Mirrors, Cruncher had grown frustrated. He had smashed every mirror in the building. When he finished, he was standing in a big open warehouse with shards of mirrored glass piled all around him on the floor. Dude, that's such a cool image. Just imagining that he has, like, glass shards sticking out of his scales and stuff, and his clothes are all ripped up from the glass, just, like, flying around. Sorry, hang on a sec. Alright. Steaming mad, Cruncher then led the Kremlings out the back door to continue the chase. Cranky was getting worn out from all the running and chasing. I'm not gonna make it, he told Diddy and Dixie. You two had better leave me. Don't be ridiculous, Cranky, Diddy replied. We came together and we'll leave together. We've got to find some place for you to rest. God, Cranky is literally just weighing them down. Like, has he helped at all? I guess he, like, bashed a few Kremlings with his cane. And, like, okay, they probably could have handled that on their own. He insisted on coming along. He literally snuck onto the boat as a stowaway, even though they kind of implied that he shouldn't come. But he's literally done nothing but weigh them down by being an old man. I'm sorry, Cranky, but you're just not helping. I still do want to draw that. I want to redraw several of these illustrations, but, you know, maybe someday. I just haven't been drawing that much lately, but this one's my favorite in all three of the books. I know the pointing meme is funny, but this one is, as far as, like, raw, like, energy, this one is the best. But the Kremlings are closing in, said Cranky. He was huffing and puffing out of breath. You know, why don't you use your simian sense, Cranky? That hasn't been brought up in a long time. Just find a place to rest using your simian sense. There, shouted Dixie. We can hide in that old abandoned roller coaster. Just ahead of them loomed the rickety race, you say. The rickety-looking wooden roller coaster. The Kongs ducked inside the tall tower housing the ride. They sat down to catch their breath. The Kremlings, however, were not far behind. Yo, Alta, welcome to story time. How's it going? You know, you came right in the middle of this book, so sorry if you don't know what's going on, but it's okay. It doesn't matter. If you've ever played Donkey Kong Country 2 before, this book is loosely related. So we're in Crazy Kremland right now, where we've been for a while, because, you know, obviously it's the best part of the game, and the author of this book decided to spend a long time there, but we're almost out. We've been listening to this, Disco Train song for, like, 10 minutes. So the Kongs ducked inside the tall tower housing the ride. They sat down to catch their breath. The Kremlings, however, were not far behind. They soon burst in on the Kongs. "You monkeys just keep making me madder and madder," said Cruncha. "So now it's time to put an end to you." Diddy, Dixie, and Cranky quickly climbed to the lead car of the roller coaster. "You'll have to catch us first," Diddy challenged. He pulled the lever that started the ride. He then broke the lever off so the Kremlings couldn't shut the coaster down. That is bold. You know, climbing onto a, like, roller coaster that's already broken down and breaking it down even further on purpose, that's a bold move, Diddy Kong. The little car containing the Kongs started moving along the tracks, heading upward. "Follow them," shouted Cruncha. The Kremlings jumped into the individual cars lined up along the tracks. One by one, cars filled with Kremlings traveled up the tracks right behind the Kongs. When Diddy, Dixie, and Cranky reached the top of the roller coaster, their car hesitated for a moment. Then it started the long plunge down. "Hang on," yelled Diddy. The car began to pick up speed. Looking behind them, the Kongs saw car after car of Kremlings. Each one reached the top and then zoomed down after them. Ahead of the Kongs was an even more frightening sight. The end of the tracks! The twisted metal rails just stopped dead in midair, hundreds of feet above the ground. Alright, Chapter 6. Cranky's weird little eyebrow hairs that he has on his brow ridge made me think he was, like, wearing a flower crown for a minute. Oh, I love the flowing of the hair here with it's the hair technology. I can't believe they even put the advanced hair technology from DKC2 in this book. Because we've got Dixie's flowing hair, we've got Cranky's flowing beard. It's beautiful. Diddy, put your leg in. Don't you know you're not supposed to put your hands and feet outside the vehicle, you fool? Yeah, I know. Like, imagine if you were, like, a child and your mom was reading this book to you, just like one chapter a night, and you had to be left on this literal cliffhanger, or roller coaster hanger, as it were. Like, oh my god, I wouldn't be able to sleep not knowing what happens next. What do we do? Yelled Cranky. We're gonna crash! You know, if this was more accurate to the— Wait, no, there are multiple Ferris wheels! Okay, I don't know if that's supposed to be a Ferris wheel down at the bottom, because, like, that would be a really weird perspective, but it looks like it. I don't think it is. I think it's, like, the top of a circus tent or something. But I'm just gonna imagine that it's another Ferris wheel, because to make this game accurate, there need to be a lot more Ferris wheels in here. "What about your helicopter spin, Dixie?" asked Diddy. He had to shout over the noise of the speeding car. Excuse me. "What about your helicopter spin, Dixie?" They hurtled closer to the end of the tracks. "Think you could fly us out of here?" "I don't know if I can carry all of us," Dixie replied loudly. "I've never tried it." At that moment, their car left the tracks. "Time to try it, Dixie," called Diddy. The car began to plunge to the ground below. "It's our only chance." Dixie sent her ponytail into its helicopter spin. Diddy held on by her ankles, and Cranky held on to Diddy's. The three Kongs lifted off into the air just as the car crashed below them. "I can't hold all three of us up," Dixie cried. She started to glide toward the ground. "We're going down!" Diddy, Dixie, and Cranky came coasting down to a rough but safe landing. They tumbled over one another in a pile. Then they came to a stop. "Is everybody alright?" asked Diddy. "If monkeys were meant to fly, we would have wings," whined Cranky. "I guess you're okay," Cranky said Diddy, smiling. "How about you, Diddy?" Dixie. How about you, Dixie? Alright. I know that we're in the forest next, so I'm just gonna go ahead. It's been fun, but I need a break from that music, you know? Yeah, it's a Ferris— I mean, the theme park is in disrepair, so one of the Ferris wheels just fell over. "I'm fine," replied Dixie. "At least my helicopter spin slowed our fall." "Which is more than I can say for our Kremling friends," said— I thought that was Cranky. I thought that was gonna be Cranky. Sorry, Diddy, after that experience, he like, got a fly in his throat, you know? Just, like, flew in there when he was on the roller coaster. "Look! The Kongs watched as the roller coaster cars containing the Kremlings went flying off the end of the tracks. One by one, they crashed to the ground below. They're dead. Crunch is dead. This is worse than when the factory blew up with people inside. Don't know how they're making it out of that one. Well, that takes care of them, said Dixie. Now let's get out of this crazy place. Or crazy place with a K. When the Kremlings no longer chasing them, the Kongs continue their search. They soon found their way out of crazy Kremland. A short while after leaving the park, they came to another deeply wooded area. According to the map, said Dixie, we're in Gloomy Gulch. K-Rool's Keep is just on the other side of these woods. But it says here that the woods are haunted by spirits. Haunted? Scoffed Cranky. Don't tell me you youngins believe in ghosts. That's just plain silliness. Very ironic considering what's going to happen to your wife, Cranky Kong. Do you believe in ghost stories? Well, you're in one. Do you really think so? I don't know who this is supposed to be, asked a thin voice that sounded like the wind. Of course I think. Cranky stopped short. Who said that? I guess it's Cloak. Oh. I did, replied a shadowy figure with glowing red eyes. The figure hovered above them. Well, who in the name of Blasted Baboon Bottoms are you? Demanded Cranky. Blasted Baboon Bottoms count is 2. I am Cloak, the figure said. A high, shrill laugh filled the woods. Wait a sec. A high, shrill laugh filled the woods. Oh wait, this is Cackle. But Cloak gets to laugh too. See what I said, based on the instruction manual, that Cackle and Cloak are besties, and they're always, like, hugging it out and patting each other on the shoulder and stuff. But this is the actual sound effect that we need here. Wait, I gotta wait a second. Hold on. A little preview. A high, shrill laugh filled the woods. And I am Cackle, echoed a second voice that seemed to come out of nowhere. There we go. We are the spirits of the woods! Spirits, my tail, snorted Cranky. There's no such thing. The shadowy figure of Cloak disappeared. Then the woods grew darker. Although it was the middle of the afternoon, it was soon as black as midnight. Cackle laughed evilly again. This time his laugh was accompanied by an eerie howling sound. I don't know what the ghost rope is called in this sound effect list, so that's what I was gonna do, but I don't know what it's under. You'd think it'd be under, like, ghost rope, but it's not. It's not under rope either. Dang. Let's get out of here, said Diddy, trying not to sound frightened. Maybe those spirits are real, added Dixie, also trying to remain brave. I still don't believe it, said Cranky. We've got a mission to finish. Let's get a move on. The 3 Kongs did their best to follow the path, but it was nearly impossible to see where they were going. A natural darkness now filled the forest. Diddy pulled out a flare barrel and ignited it. Wow, they really got a barrel for everything. The glow from the burning barrel lit the way. The Kongs were soon back on the path leading through Gloomy Gulch. A huge rock suddenly rose into the air in front of them. Cackle laughed so loudly, oh my god, this guy is really putting in the work, that they had to cover their ears. The floating rock landed right in front of Diddy. It startled him and caused him to drop his flare. Wait, the person who's, like, throwing things and dropping things at you is Cloak, but okay, I guess they can both do it. They didn't want to... They wanted to put Cackle in here, but they didn't want to have another roller coaster segment again so soon, because that one took so long, you know? This place is giving me the creeps, said Dixie. Come on, Diddy responded. Let's keep moving. He picked up the glowing barrel, and the Kongs made their way around the large boulder, the size of a small boulder. A strong wind whipped up. It bent the trees almost to the ground and blew out Diddy's flare. The group struggled to move forward through the darkness. Well, see, what you gotta do in this part is you gotta, like, jump into the wind and just let it carry you across the gaps. Obviously. Up ahead, shouted Dixie. Look! Diddy peered up the path. He saw sunlight streaming into what looked like the end of the woods. Just a little bit farther, he urged the others. The Kongs pushed on toward the light. They were soon at the edge of the woods. They stepped from Gloomy Gulch and suddenly it was daytime again. The sun shone brightly. The fierce winds were gone. Behind them the woods were still covered in darkness. Before them rose a huge, forbidding fortress. Rool's keep, said Diddy in a hushed voice. We made it. But now comes the hard part, moaned Cranky. Getting Donkey Kong out of there. Alright, are we gonna have ice levels or not? No, we're going straight in the castle. Alright. Keeping low but moving swiftly, Diddy, Dixie, and Cranky made their way to the base of the huge fortress. There were several entrances to Rool's keep. Each one was guarded by 2 Kremlings. How do we get past those guards? Whispered Cranky. I'm working on it, replied Diddy. Over the course of their journey, Diddy had come to think of himself as the leader of their little team. His earlier adventures with Donkey Kong had been learning experiences, but this rescue mission had given him the confidence he needed to feel like a true leader. Diddy now faced the greatest challenge of his young life, to get into the heavily guarded fortress and escape safely with Donkey Kong. Diddy's thoughts were interrupted by the loud laughter of the guards at the nearest entrance. Oh man, they're cracking up. So what's Rool gonna do with that big monkey he's got chained up at the top of the keep? Asked one guard. He was laughing at Donkey Kong's predicament. I think he's waiting for those other monkeys to bring him all their bananas, replied the second guard. Although why he wants bananas is beyond me. I can't stand the things. Give me strawberries for my cereal any day. Dude, I love the strawberry cereal Kremling, like, mood. I love strawberries. I love dried strawberries. I love putting dried strawberries in my cereal, in my yogurt, you know? He knows what's up. I love the strawberry Kremling. If there was another, like, species out there that has a strawberry horde, they better fucking watch out, because they're next. So Donkey Kong's chained up at the top of the keep, whispered Dixie from their hiding place nearby. At least we know where he is. Yeah, well, to be fair, I mean, I guess every single world does appear in this book, so. But, you know, we don't get some characters. We don't get Squitter and we don't get Radley, and I'm even wearing my Radley shirt today, like, come on. Basically, are there any other animal buddies? I guess we don't get Clapper, but we do get Glimmer. You gotta put Glimmer in there. You cannot forget about Glimmer. You know, Michael Teitelbaum was playing this game and he got blinded, so he had to like dictate the rest of this book to someone else because he couldn't write it down himself because Glimmer blinded him. So he had to make sure to include Glimmer in there. Unforgettable. A strawberry root. This is gonna be tougher than I thought, said Diddy. We're gonna have to make it all the way to the top. But I've got an idea about how we can begin. Diddy explained his plan to the others. Then Cranky stepped out from their hiding place. Hey you, he shouted. Kremling guards, I'm here to deliver the bananas to Rool. They're right over here. One of the guards stepped away from the entrance. He shuffled over to Cranky. Oh yeah, monkey? Where are they? He asked. Over here, come on, said Cranky. He led the guard farther away from the entrance. How far is it? Asked the guard. Not far, replied Cranky. Just follow me. Cranky led the guard to a spot just out of view of the entrance. He stopped under a large tree. Do I get it now? Asked the guard. You betcha, replied Cranky. Now! Oh, he's gonna get it, alright. Diddy dropped from a tree branch just above the guard. He pounced on the guard's head. With a double jump move. There's his double jump again. You thought Diddy's double jump wasn't gonna be in Diddy's fucking novel, in Diddy's Conquest? Well, no. Diddy's double jump has to make it in. It's iconic. That Donkey Kong had taught him. It knocked out the guard. Okay, so, like, by the double jump, this whole time, has he just been talking about the fact that, like, if you bounce off an enemy's head, like, you get to jump out of that instead of just, like, I don't know, like, I feel like this is the case from, like, almost every video game, instead of just, like, if you jumped on them and then you just hit the ground afterwards or something. But I guess that's just what is meant by the double jump there. Yeah, Glimmer hypnotized him. Meanwhile, back at the keep's entrance, Dixie sprang into action. A few moments after the first guard had disappeared from sight, Dixie flew at the remaining guard. Her ponytail helicopter spin attack. That's quite the description there. Her ponytail helicopter spin attack hit him from behind. The unsuspecting guard tumbled to the ground. Seconds later, Diddy and Cranky returned. They quickly tied up the guard with vines and put a gag in his mouth. I don't think that's necessary, but okay. I mean, if you tied him up with vines, that's probably good enough, but okay, guys. Gag him. Nice work, Dixie, said Diddy. He grabbed the guard's keys. Time for the fun to begin. The Kongs entered the keep. They found themselves in front of a huge... I guess you could say those were Krim keys. The Kongs entered the keep. They found themselves in front of a huge stairway that seemed to rise forever. Peering up the steps, the Kongs saw level after level. Oh, I do remember this, where they talk about all the different levels. This is like the most like actual video gamey part of any of these books, because they talk about the different levels, and it pretty much just is the levels that there are. See, okay, I talked about the fact that, like, the author of this book maybe didn't have access to the whole game before writing this, but he does describe, like, pretty much all of the later levels, but I don't know if he made it to K. Rool, because you'll see why. You'll see why when we get to the illustration of K. Rool. I don't think he actually made it to the very end of the game. Like, he must have got stopped on Screech's sprint or something. He's like, I can't beat this shit. Then let's get moving, replied Diddy. He was trying to keep everyone focused. The first level they came to was the chain link chamber. Actually, they're forgetting Castle Crush, shaking my dang head. In order to proceed any higher, they had to climb a 100-foot-high chain link fence. No problem for monkeys like us, said Diddy. The three Kongs scrambled onto the fence. Yeah, this would actually make a lot more sense to have in, like, a Kong castle than a Kremling castle. It seems like it would be a lot harder to deal with if you're not, like, a clinger or something. I guess it's a fence. You ever put a fence inside your castle? K. Rool does, because he's crazy like that. The three Kongs scrambled onto the fence, but when they were halfway to the top, a Kremling named Cannon appeared! It's the boy! He prepared to fire his huge gun at the climbing Kongs. There's no illustration of Cannon, is there? We're not getting the nips. Nah. Skipping straight to these guys. Leaf Pang was not brave enough to illustrate the... Well, he did have Clump in the first book, so... You know, he probably got a stern reprimand for drawing the nips in a children's book, so he wasn't allowed to do it this time. So, you know, no nipples this time, but maybe in the comics that we're gonna get to next. Unless, I haven't read the rest of this page, maybe it describes them, like, giving him a purple nurple or something. Nobody gets past Cannon, he shouted. His first cannonball ripped a hole in the fence just above Diddy's head. Spread out, said Diddy. He can't get all three of us at once. Oh yeah, this book doesn't also go into how they literally killed a guy. How they killed Crow. I guess they probably killed some people when they fell off of the roller coaster and crashed in the ground from like hundreds of feet in the air, apparently. But that wasn't their fault, like, you know? They didn't do that directly. It wasn't like DK blowing up the factory. That was a direct action. Using their natural monkey agility, Diddy, Dixie, and Cranky moved sideways along the fence. They split up, taking 3 separate paths. Cannon continued to fire, but the Kongs managed to scramble around each hole he made. They soon met at the top of the fence and were able to move on to the next level. I don't think this book has any brambles in it, now that I'm thinking about it. They left out, like, the most iconic level archetype. I guess they didn't really know back in the day that was gonna catch on and be such a big thing. Back on the stairs, they passed an innocent-looking barrel. Suddenly, a Kremling called Clobber burst out of it. Wait. Suddenly, a Kremling called Clobber burst out of it. Clobber slammed into Diddy, then bounced off the wall. Next, he rammed into Dixie. She only managed to keep her balance by grabbing onto the stair railing with her tail. As Clobber prepared to attack Cranky, Diddy set off a smoke screen barrel. The stairway filled with a thick haze. Hey, shouted Clobber, I can't see anything. That's the idea, said Cranky. He tripped Clobber with his cane. The Kremling rolled down the stairs and disappeared from view. Everyone okay? Asked Diddy when the smoke cleared. Fine, replied Dixie. How many more darned levels are there in this place? Moaned Cranky. I don't know, said Diddy, but I'm sure the going doesn't get any easier. The three Kongs sped up the stairs. At the next level, they were confronted by 2 of the most dangerous Kremlings yet. Crook with his rocket hook hands, and Cutlass with his 2 razor-sharp swords stepped out to block their way. I like this illustration a lot, too. You look like you could use a shave, old monkey, said Cutlass. He swung his right-hand sword straight at Cranky's chin. Cranky reacted quickly, lifting his cane to block the blow. The sword missed him, but sliced his cane in 2. Rip to Cranky's cane. Did it say Dixie's tail? I imagine just talking about her ponytail. Yeah, it does say her tail. I'm just going to imagine that it means her ponytail, because in the illustrations, she does not have one. Crook fired one of his rocket hooks at Dixie. Pew! She spun her ponytail and lifted herself into the air. The steely point of the hook passed just below her feet. It stuck in the... Sorry, it's stuck in the far wall behind her. Next, Cutlass swung his sword at Diddy. Diddy used his superior jumping ability to leap above the arc the sword made in the air. He landed on Cutlass's head, temporarily stunning the Kremling. Meanwhile, Dixie pulled Crook's hook from the wall. She began a duel with the crafty Kremling. The sound of clanging metal rang out as the hooks clashed. Crook was stronger than Dixie, but her monkey agility enabled her to block his blows and counter with some of her own. While Cutlass was still dazed, Diddy spun into him with a cartwheel attack. It sent the Kremling flying. Cutlass reached his arms out to stop himself from slamming into the wall, but he was still holding his swords. They hit the wall points first and stuck. Try as he might, Cutlass could not free his swords. They were deeply embedded in the wall. With no weapons to protect himself, the cowardly Kremling fled. Dixie and Crook locked hooks in a battle of strength. Dixie strained with all her might, but the stronger Kremling was starting to push the hook she was holding back toward her. Diddy and Cranky now joined her. Each one grabbed hold of Dixie's hook. Using their combined strength, the Kongs began to swing Crook in a circle. Picking up speed, they spun the Kremling around until he was off his feet. "Now," yelled Dixie, "let go!" They gave him the old Bowser treatment. Is that Victor's theory of Dixie Kong physiology? I thought that was, like, all of our theory. I don't know. Haven't we been talking about the fact that Dixie has a real tail growing out of the back of her head for, like, years and years now? I mean, I'm sure Victor does believe it, but I don't know if he came up with that. Yeah, and no Funky mode. Funky is not... The only one of these three novels that Funky is in is Rumble in the Jungle, but boy, is he ever in it. He's really the central figure of that plot. Now that's what I call... wait, hold on, I don't know if I read this, The three monkeys let go of the hook at the same time. Crook went flying over the stair railing to a level far below. Now that's what I call teamwork, said Cranky. He was proud to be part of this feisty little band. The Kongs had just one more level to get past before they reached the top, a level known as Toxic Tower. Toxic Tower lived up to its name. As soon as they entered the large stone silo, green, smelly slime started pouring through crevices in the floor. Kremlings love slime. It is known. The room began to fill up with a slime like a swimming pool filling with water. Climb, shouted Diddy. Well, slime climb's a different level, but we skipped past that one. Climb as fast as you can. With the poisonous green goop spreading up to within inches of their feet, the Kongs climbed up the side of Toxic Tower. At the top was a small door. Diddy opened the door. The three friends dove through just as the green slime caught up. Wow, that was a very fast, they didn't spend much time in Toxic Tower. It just got like one paragraph. Getting to their feet, they realized that they had made it to the top of Captain K. Rool's keep. There in front of them, bound in chains, sat Donkey Kong. Alright. See, there it is. There's K. Rool, but he's just wearing, like, a ridiculous hat. Like, Michael Teitelbaum did not make it to, the Flying Croc. He thought Stronghold he probably didn't actually make it past Toxic Tower. He thought Stronghold Showdown was actually the end of the game. Because that's why he, like, really rushed past Toxic Tower, because he couldn't get past the beginning of it, and he was like, fuck this. Alright. I like, Diddy's really sticking his booty out here, and Dixie's face. Dixie's face is very good. Why does K. Rool look so naked in this picture? I don't understand. He somehow just looks really naked to me, despite the fact that, like, he is wearing his cape, and he is wearing a silly hat, but, I don't know, something about just, I don't know, like, the way his gut hangs over there or something makes him... The Three Musketeers. It's, him, Clump, and Crusha, obviously. Yeah, someone put me on the line with Michael Teitelbaum, and I can interview him for the Kremling Kronology, and he'll be like, I don't remember. Alright. Yeah, that's why K. Rool is really surprised at them walking in on this, actually, and that's why he looks naked, because he is. Yeah, he's like spiritually naked right now, you know. All right, I gotta take another break real quick, but I think this is the last chapter. I feel like there's usually 9. I don't know. Let's see real quick. Oh, this is okay. I don't think I'm gonna make it before the ads though, so we will come back and I will wrap this up and then we will get to the comics. But I will leave you on this cliffhanger. Sorry, I'm looking for the right... There we go. Alright. It's gonna be another underwhelming final encounter, let me tell you, but we can go ahead and pretend it's cool by listening to this music. So I will see you in a few minutes. Hello. Well, Jero, you got here just in time for the yet again, extremely underwhelming ending. According to this trilogy of books, Rool is actually like the worst final boss of all time, because he's literally always just like running away. Like you never actually fight him or anything. Imagine like a series of like video games where every single time you get to the final boss, like you never have to actually fight him. There's like a whole game series with the main villain always just like gets away at the end. You know, Exalt, that's okay. It's not really about the, like, this book is very avant-garde. It's about what's happening in the moment, not so much the entire story arc, you know. It's all about like the moment to moment action. So it's okay. You don't have to worry that you missed stuff. Diddy, Dixie, Cranky, exclaimed Donkey Kong. He struggled against his chains that held him. You came all this way to rescue me? Of course, DK, said Diddy. He sounded more grown-up than Donkey Kong had ever heard him sound before. Oh, excuse me. Of course, DK. After all, you do the same for us. And you came too, Pops, added Donkey Kong. Well, what did you think? I'd let these whippersnappers get all the glory for rescuing you? Snorted Cranky. Captain K. Rool stepped into the room. He was seething. No one had ever made it all the way to the top of the keep before. Yeah, he was seething because he didn't have time to get his pirate coat on. And because he was, like, wearing a stupid-ass hat. He was, like, trying out hats and, like, looking in the mirror. And he's like, oh, is this one gonna be my pirate hat? What about this one? And, he was on this one, and it looks dumb. But that's the one he had on when the Kongs got here, so no wonder he's seething. But despite his role as leader of the Kremlings, K. Rool was basically a coward. I'll destroy this whole place before I'll let you free the big monkey, he shouted at them. Then he set off he's got his own smoke bombs. Is he a pirate or a ninja? Then he set off a smoke bomb and climbed a rope ladder to the roof of the keep where his croc plane was waiting. I guess I don't know, he knows about the flying croc, but I guess it's really just the illustrator who didn't make it to Captain K. Rool. And they were unable to provide him any images for reference because it was top secret. Don't worry about me, Donkey Kong told his friends. You've got to stop Rool. He has enough firepower on that croc plane of his to blow up this whole fortress. If he gets the plane airborne, we're all finished. You know, K. Rool would blow up his own castle just to... It's revenge for the factory. Diaper? God damn it. I'm glad I still didn't have my drink in my mouth when I read that. Cranky, you stay here and set Donkey Kong free, ordered Diddy. Come on, Dixie, let's go get Rool. As Diddy and Dixie scrambled up the rope ladders to the roof, Cranky lectured Donkey Kong. Didn't I tell you that no good would come here lazing around on the beach all day, he began. When I was your age, I never took a day off. Yeah, no wonder he's so angry all the time. This man did not have a good work-life balance. While Cranky talked, he used the small explosive barrels to break Donkey Kong's... Okay. I'll just set off some localized explosions next to DK. I'm sure he'll be fine. Like, I don't know. Could you even try to just, like, maybe, like, unbind him without that, but Donkey Kong rolled his eyes. He wondered if he might not be better off staying where he was for the rest of his life. Yeah, which is gonna be like 2 seconds when you get exploded by all of these barrels, rather than endure another of Cranky's lectures. Diddy and Dixie reached the roof just in time to see K. Rool's croc plane take off. "We're too late," shouted Diddy. The plane rose into the air. "Any second now, he's gonna start bombing the keep." "Let's use my helicopter spin," Dixie suggested. She revved up her ponytail. "I'll try spinning, that's a good trick." "But," Diddy started to protest. "I know I couldn't lift all 3 of us," Dixie explained, "but I might be able to fly with just you and me." "Let's go," said Diddy. He put his arms around her waist. The 2 Kongs lifted into the air. "It's working!" cried Dixie excitedly. "Follow that croc," ordered Diddy, holding on tight. A few seconds later, they caught up with the plane. Quickly sliding the door to the cockpit open, Diddy and Dixie leaped inside. "Too late, monkeys!" shouted Rool. "My bombs will destroy the keep and your 2 friends with it!" But before Rool could hit the release lever to drop the bombs, Diddy returned Rool's smoke bomb favor by setting off a smokescreen barrel of his own. The cockpit filled with thick gray smoke. The Kremling couldn't find the bomb release controls. A pirate ninja musketeer. Rool stumbled blindly around the cockpit of his croc plane. Diddy decided to put him out of commission with a cartwheel attack. When he slammed into Rool, the Kremling hit the partially open cockpit door. Captain K. Rool fell out of the plane and plunged into the ocean below. He landed with a huge splash. Wait. One last for the road. Diddy and Dixie looked down. They saw a group of gray shark fins circling Rool. Then the evil Kremling leader disappeared. Yeah, he's dead. According to these books, he is dead. Like, they never made another one. So, that's it. This is the bad ending for K. Rool. The smoke in the cockpit finally cleared. Diddy sat down at the controls. He had been taking flying lessons from Funky Kong. Yeah, there it is. Oh, now he really is naked, dude. He's naked. What happened to his cape? He was wearing his cape. I guess the sharks ripped it off of him. The sharks ripped it straight off. They tore it off. Bro is straight up naked in there. From Funky Kong, the best pilot on Donkey Kong Island, Diddy guided the plane safely to a landing on the keep's roof. Donkey Kong and Cranky were waiting. Nice bit of rescuing, Diddy. Wait, hold on. I can finally change the song too. Just to wrap it up here. Yeah, the timeline where K. Rool dies, but Crow lives. Thanks. Nice bit of rescuing, Diddy, said Donkey Kong. He and Cranky climbed on board. Thanks, DK, said Diddy, beaming with pride. He piloted the croc plane off the roof and set a course for Donkey Kong Island. Yo, they're just taking the flying croc. It's theirs now. On the way, Diddy and Dixie filled Donkey Kong in on all the details of their adventure. I have faith in these 2 youngsters all along, said Cranky. Of course, they never would have made it past the first Kremlings if I hadn't been with them. You never change, do you, Pops? Asked Donkey Kong. Why should I? Shot back Cranky. Why mess with primate perfection? The others all laughed and settled in for the flight home. Alright, and so we are left with naked K. Rool, who is about to get eaten by sharks and die for real. And that is the last we ever hear from our friend Michael, as there are no more Donkey Kong Country books, sadly. And dang. It's been fun. I'm gonna miss doing the Cranky voice. But I can't be too sad or surprised because we've already read these all before, but now we get to concentrate on new stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and put it back on like shuffle for this music, so it'll just start playing whatever. And I'm going to pull up the comics that we have. That's true. He's like, if I'm gonna die, I want to die looking good. I want people to see my full glory, my full unobscured glory. Alright, so I got a couple comics here today. I think I will go with... I know one of them is longer, so I think I'll go with the shorter one first. This is not DKC2, I just put it on here for the beginning of the last book. Alright. His crock pit, yes. Sorry, I'm just trying to... How do I zoom out on this? Oh, I see. Gotta use the numpad. Alright. So... I thought this was like in a magazine. This is another German banger, but this makes it look like it had its own cover or something. So I don't know if this was like published on its own. I don't think it was though. I guess this was just like in the midst of the middle of some kind of magazine. But I can look it up and get back to you and put it into the YouTube video when I eventually put this up. Alright, so this is a adaptation of Donkey Kong Country 2, and I actually haven't really looked at this one at all, so I have no idea what awaits us. Hello, Club Nintendo fans! After his glorious victory over King K. Rool, Donkey Kong was relaxing in his hammock. Oh, they used the, like, original, the old title screen for this one. Donkey Kong was relaxing in his hammock. The old abandoned ship was the perfect hideout to escape from the ever-bothersome Cranky. Oh, so he was in his hammock in the Gangplank Galleon. That's, okay. You know what? That's just kind of smart idea. That's cool. If there was, like, if they left a pirate ship on my island, I would definitely be hanging out there. Dozing off, still with the last banana's taste on his tongue, he suddenly heard a noise. He turned around and discovered that sometimes even nice days can end poorly. It's menacing. Yeah, I think this is like the same illustrator as the other, like the DKC German comic we looked at. I liked the art in that one a lot. Even though the story and the writing was kind of whack. Alright, thank God Captain K. Rool looks like himself here and is not wearing some kind of ridiculous Three Musketeers hat. He looks good. My boy's looking good. Haha, who's got the last laugh now? You thought you'd triumph once and for all, and that was your failure! The situation seems hopeless. Surrounded by baddies and tied up like express goods, Donkey Kong is at K. Rool's mercy. Yeah, I love it when I'm at the mercy of someone whose name is K. Rool. I think he's gonna show me a lot of mercy. He's probably a real nice guy. Well, no one knows where I am. I have to come up with something quickly, or the game is up. Yeah, Kinky Rool. Captain! Our scouts have spotted 2 monkeys following us! Radio! Sound the alarm at once! Yeah, I don't know how they figured out what was going on, but Diddy and Dixie are here. I like the detail on the gun, by the way. I just want to appreciate the illustrations a little bit more before we move on. That is a... You know what's ironic? Okay, remember how, I think this was the German comic where K. Rool had the, like, extremely giant, realistic yaoi hands. But his hands are somewhat smaller in this. They're definitely smaller in this comic, but it's the opposite in the actual games. Like, they gave K. Rool the real big hands for DKC2, so the better to hold his gun with. But in this one, his hands got all smaller. K. Rool loves tying DK up, and DK just manages to get him, just somehow manages to get himself tied up again and again. I also like how, like, flowy and sort of, like, ruffles. I don't know, like, I don't know. I like the way the bottom of his cloak is. It's nice. Yeah, I like it too. Front-facing K. Rool, but he's not cursed. He's the rare blessed front-facing K. Rool. Ack! Diddy, look! This whole place has been turned upside down! And Donkey's gone without a trace. Meanwhile, Diddy and Dixie are on their way to the hideout. But as they approach the cabin... We've got to look everywhere. Keep an eye out for clues. Hey, Dixie, look at this. It's a scroll. To the Scraggly Kong family. Haha, I mean, arr! We have the big ape. If you want him back, you gotta hand us over your entire banana horde. Remember how last time when I was playing DKC2, we were talking about how, like, K. Rool had, like, 5 different drafts of this letter? I guess it's true. We're getting all of the variants now. We've now read at least, like, 4 different versions of this letter. I don't know why they don't just use the same one every time, but hey. I hope his teeth fall out of his ugly face! We gotta help Donkey. Nobody but us knows what happened to him. Yeah, cool bananas. We'll teach those thugs what we're capable of. I hope his teeth fall out of his ugly face is a really good insult to say. That's good. I like Diddy's, like, one. He's got, like, the tooth. Well, looky here. I do love a bit of monkey meat. Eek, it's a neek. Ah, that's too much for a defenseless rat to bear. That neek is big. He's, like, bigger than both of them. That is a big rat. Hey, right on! Together we're unbeatable. They don't stand a chance. Rats can only stare when monkeys leap through the air. Yo, Clobber's back, Clobber's back. Clobber alert. Hold on, I gotta find the clobber noise. There we go. Attack! I'm gonna knock you around until you don't know what's what! Blimey! I mean, they are British. British monkeys. Blimey! Quick, Dixie! Chuck stuff at him! Anything you can find! Yeah, use the crates for throwing at Kremlings. Oh, these are some pretty cool bananas. Yo, it's Ramby. Ah! Oh, ow! I'm out of here before I catch any worse! He certainly didn't expect that. Laughing, the two go on ahead to discover a curious crate. I gotta say, like, you'd think Clobber would be one of the worst Kremlings to throw things at, because he has his natural... Well, it's not natural, I guess, but he has his protection of the barrel. Somehow it's hurting him even through the barrel. Hey, Ramby, you old boot. So you're all in on this as well. Ramby looks cool here. Look at how, like, badass he looks. Galloping through the Kremling hordes. I could get used to this. Yeah, I like the kaboing, because they're like... Eh. I love these illustrations here. And also, I guess this might be a rare exception where Ramby does not talk in one of these, because he's just very serious. He's not a chatty boy. He has nothing to say. He's all action, no words. He's all about sticking his horn right in the crotch of this clomp here. He does have aura. He's aura farming. Yeah, the kaboing, that's just the way that their, like, scales look, and it is kind of accurate to the weird way that, like, their scale texture is and their renders, but it does kind of look like they're a weird creepypasta Kremling who's just, like, bleeding all over. Like, maybe they have scurvy. Like, their scales are, like, coming apart and they're just, like, bleeding out of the middle of them. Yeah, realistic barrel jump scare. Of course, K. Rool's spiteful influence is spread far throughout this land. You said it, Dixie. So every now and then we need the support of our animal buddies. Diddy and Dixie follow the trail of Kremlings to the ship's mast. Looking for further clues, they see that they must continue up the mast to new, dizzying heights. Ooh, I feel queasy. Don't look down. Ugh, too late. I love this clinger. Hey, vermin! This rigging is no place for the likes of you. Back off! Oh, stop right now! Yeah, well, turns out they can just climb away from him. It's fine. Bah, I'm not so stupid as to try and jump after them. Was there someone here? I didn't see nothing. Yo, Klinger is not is not, like, the employee of the month, that's for sure. He didn't try very hard. Well, you know, he can only go up and down on the same rope. He can't, like, climb sideways, so it's fine. No one ever taught him how to climb sideways. He can only climb up and down. Heh, we sure left him in the dust. Courage pays off. Yo, the flitter's got eyelashes. This is a, you know, now we can tell it's a girl flitter. Are these two together? There they are. Bzz. It's time to kick some ass. Okay, wait. She's a girl, and she also says kick some ass. I mean, I guess it looks like it's coming from the flitter, but the way it's written makes it seem like it would be the zinger. But whichever one of them said this, they you know, they're making this no longer an E-rated comic. Okay, I guess it was the flitter. That's not what I meant. I'll show you dumb guys who's the Lord of the Flies. Yo, epic. Diddy is still pointing, but he's doing it with his toe this time. But he's trying to jump on a zinger, which was, you know, not very smart. Ow, this brute's all spiky. Diddy, don't you know about zingers? Like, come on, man. You've been through this before. Gotcha. Don't get cocky now. I'll show you my handsome stings. Come on, let's dance. Don't get fresh with me, Mother Buzzer. We'll find a way to take you down. This translation is great. But for now, cheerio. Pick someone else to dance with and learn to speak properly. But all I wanted was... Using her ponytail as a propeller, Dixie soars away with Diddy in tow. Once again, things have worked out fine. I see Crow down there. We're about to watch a man lose his life, in this comic. You should be more careful next time. You're right. I was probably a bit too reckless. What the? Yo, he's dropping the eggs. Ah! You little gremlins, what are you doing here? Nice, Sage. Good luck. Go back to your farms or I'll flatten you. Stone the crows. Wait, the farms? I don't know. I don't know what that's... Does he think that they live on a farm or something? If you're not a pirate, you're a farmer, I guess. Those are the only two types of people that exist. With a bit of skill, maybe I can catch that egg and throw it back. And he did. Got it! Take this, you big turkey! Clong. Scrah! And then he died. This is the moment that Crow's life leaves his body. Yep. And then we see no more of... Cranky is so, like, he is so bald in this. I love the use of screenshots. This is a multimedia comic. But what's interesting is that these are like all the outdated screenshots and art too, because you can see On Guard here instead of Winky. We sure taught Crow a lesson. Yeah, that's one way to put it. But where do we go now? No idea. Let's go back down. Maybe we can find a trail. Get in here, you waste of space! I liked it, Cranky was just calling to them from inside his little shelter that he's built on the ship. So once again, you have no clue about what's where and what's going on, eh? You greenhorns just dashed off again without considering just what you're getting yourself into, huh? Oh, well. Now then, clean out your ears. Out there in the wilds, there are some folks that can help you. But they'll want some cash for their services. That's life, kiddos, so keep your eyes peeled for banana coins inside levels. It's Clubba. Yo, the nips! We got the nips! It happened! I can't believe it! They're here! They're so round and perfectly circular. I'm so happy. You know what? I didn't think it was actually gonna pay off, but... There. Let's all just take a moment to appreciate them. Thank you for the 2 bits again. Alright. But we'll get to him in a minute. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Okay, so far so good. But where to from here? Well, let's keep moving. We'll find a way. Cranky said we'd get some help out here. Let's look for it. Incoming! Yikes! Well, this is Canon's claim after- Look, Canon is also aura farming. Like, everyone in this comic is so cool. Look at him. This is like the coolest he's ever looked. Look at this guy. The Cannoneer! The Cannoneer! He shoots his cannon at your rear. He's even got a... Okay, he kind of ruined it with his dumbass rhyme. That was a little corny. He still looks cool though. We'll pretend he didn't say that. I didn't even hear what he said, frankly. I was too... You know what I was looking at. I was a little distracted. Enjoy my balls, man! I'm done, dude. I can't go on. We're enjoying every part of you, my friend. I can't. Bro thinks he's grunty. Oh. I need to like crop this panel and just save it for the future. Enjoy my balls, mateys. Dixie, get down. He is splaying his nips out. They are going wide here. The Cannoneer, the Cannoneer. His shots at nothing but thin air. That doesn't even rhyme. Man, these rhymes are just getting worse and worse. Yeah, that doesn't even rhyme. Oh, hold on. Wait, hold on. That's a pretty good transliteration of the noise, but there we go. Well, Diddy, there you go. Frontal attacks are not always the best way. At any rate, the way's clear now. Let's move on. Where are they climbing? I guess they're just climbing out of a cave here. I thought they might have somehow wound up in the Zinger hive already and they were climbing the honey, but it doesn't look like that. It's just rocks. Hey, what's this now? Well, where there's an arrow, there's a way. Wow! I just want to enjoy Dixie's face in this third panel here. It's very good. This is, I mean, maybe this is the closest to a canon spelling we have to go on, but I'd have to see how it was originally spelled in the German since this is a translation. Come on, Diddy, follow me. Are you sure that's the right way? Maybe this comic is longer than I thought. I don't know, we're like going through the whole... I assume it's gonna stop at some point. Anything she can do, I can do better. I don't think that's true, did he? Oh, yeah, he ended up in a bonus. Uh-oh, where have I ended up now? Can't you just leave me alone? It seems out of pure dumb luck you ended up in a bonus room, you toddler. You can find them by jumping into a bonus barrel or loading up a cannon. Thank you, Cranky. That bonus thing sounds cool. Should help our chances. Bro, Diddy just got... He probably got his one tooth knocked out by getting just hit in the jaw with his hook. He looks so happy. Look at him. I love Crook. Crook is one of my favorites. I mean, I say that about like all the pirate ones, but you know. Well, babyface, you didn't expect that, did ya? There's no way around me. Are you okay, Diddy? You gotta be more careful. Don't hurt my boyfriend, you scaly creep! Hee, jumping won't do you any good. Maybe not jumping alone, but this ought to do the trick. I'm just appreciating the art a little more before we move on to the next page. Yeah, Cranky has been bald. He showed up earlier. Oh, wow. Why, you little... He wasn't too happy about that. The TNT barrel had saved the day. Strengthened by the fresh triumph, the pain is soon out of their minds. This is such a dull balloon ride. Nothing's happening. Things will pick up, I'm sure of it. Yeah, I don't know. If I was riding a balloon over hot lava, I would not be that chill about it. I would not, you know, be resting on my laurels so much. I'd be a little concerned. Fresh monkey meat. The thighs are my favorite. Alright. Well, this is maybe the first instance of the crockheads actually being, like, menacing and, not just chill and ready to help out. The one with the yellow hair is mine. Looks extra tasty. Her hair does look like a banana. I like how happy the clamp-on is, too. Look at him. What? I'll show you what these thighs can do. So many of these panels just out of context. Just put them together. Just like, you know. Whoop, whoop, alley-oop. The food's fighting back. Arg. Yeah, I'm just gonna put enjoy my balls, mateys, and I'll show you what these thighs can do right next to each other. I'm just gonna remix this comic. Bro. I guess, okay, we're just jumping. I was like, did I skip a page? But no, there was just a click-clack off screen, and now we are dealing with them, throwing a treasure chest at them. Phew, lots of enemies here. Let's bust out our new trick. It's team-up time, and Diddy throw! That Kremling's got nothing on the force of Diddy's simian impact. Zonk. It's Cleaver! Who dares to violate my privacy? Ah, little monkey rascals! What? Who's there? If you won't leave willingly, I'll have to light a fire under you. I love this panel, the last panel here. They look so, like, truly scared and astonished. But also, Cleaver, my beloved, looking so badass. Yes, run for your apish lives! And I like that this, you can't really tell in the game, because you only receive one side of him. But I mean, I guess he turns, so I guess you could... But I like the implication that Cleaver's, like, got a double-sided skull, because I never really thought about that. Yeah, Diddy's... Yeah. Kind of a little bit of his, like, Smash Bros, like, jump into him with his feet type thing. Yeah, it really is. I love the art in this. Let's get out of here. I don't want to get roasted. Oh, a cannonball? Ugh, maybe this will slow him down. Here, hold on to this for me. Huh? You'll suffer for this, you scallywag! Now you'll feel my wrath! That's really got him going. Who'd have thunk he has an iron allergy? I like that Cleaver can blush. Or maybe he's just heating up, I guess. I'll get you next time. Next time, for sure. Cleaver's crying, dude, and his blade gets all wibbly-wobbly. I just know it's making that, like, wiggly metal sound. You know, they're like... Is this a... Goddamn, this... Okay, I don't want to get too far ahead of... This is longer than I thought it was. I don't know why. I thought this one was shorter, but... This must have just been its own book or something. Still perspiring from that fiery duel, our heroes reach Cranky. One thing is obvious to the two of them from the get-go. Something odd is going on here. Honestly, I should be putting on the appropriate music here, too. I thought this was going to be shorter, so I wasn't going to bother doing it, but... Back to Bayou Boogie we go. Do you think we're going the right way? Of course. In the name of all ghosts, halt! Ah! Anyone who sets foot in my realm with such impunity deserves one of my fine oaken casks. Run! Quick, into the water. We'll be safer in there. I don't know. Apparently that water is pretty nasty. It doesn't look so bad here, you know? Posh cloak. I like his manner of speaking. Yeah, is it cloak time? I think it's cloak time. Alright, Glimmer is back. I guess the yeah, the animal buddies aren't talking in this one. Glimmer isn't even using his speech where he can barely talk. But danger lurks in the depths as well, and Diddy and Dixie find themselves equally unwelcome underwater. Pretty gloomy in here. Hey, how are they breathing underwater without their special breathing barrels? Wow, the dessert's arrived. Oh yeah, quick, swimming quickens the appetite. He seems really hungry. Yeah, leave some for the rest of us. Isn't anyone here into dieting? Hey, Puffed Up, well, you old toad face, shouldn't you be blub at a beauty parlor? Watch it, Ape Face. No one speaks to me like that. Not me. I'm going to well, there he goes. He's dead. So, 2 people have died in this comic. Crow and this Puffed Up. Alright, here you go. Cool trick, Blub. Whew, finally. Here, let me help you up. And it's Cludgel. If you put them both together, you would get Cludgel. It's Cludgel time. He could be like half green and half gray, or he's pretty dark gray in this. Almost like black, but yeah, I was thinking that was the implication, Andre. I like that a lot. Cloak's been around for a while, you know. He's not a recent pirate ghost. Alright, the mayor of Flavortown is here. Crack! Wah! And he apparently speaks he speaks like this. He's not as well spoken as his twin brother Clubba is. He's Me Cudgel, you monkeys. You no get through here. King says you evil. Cudgel no like evil. Cudgel actually has the best sense of justice of all Kremlings. He doesn't realize he's on the side of the bad guys. He doesn't like evil things, and he's actually a hero in his own heart. He doesn't know what he's doing, so it's pretty sad. It's pretty tragic. He's been misled. He's a hero of the Kremlings, and he doesn't know that he's actually supposed to be a villain. Yeah, he's got kind of brownish pants actually, which has even funnier implications. Cudgel no like evil, Cudgel bash. But first we should really talk about your nutrition. Diddy, I don't think you need to be talking to this guy about nutrition. Like, I think he knows how to take care of himself. Maybe like he skips leg day a little bit, but he's been hitting the gym. He's been eating the protein. I think he knows about nutrition. You know, I wouldn't be listening to some shrimpy monkey if I was this guy, that's for sure. Yeah, he hadn't done laundry for a while, so he had to visit his bro and be like, hey man, can I borrow some pants? I'm out of pants right now. Cudgel no talk, Cudgel smash you! Alright, Cuddles. Well, you know, I'd be up for that. Maybe you can get chummy with this. Kaboom. Ho ho ho, that tickles! But Cudgel have no time for fun. Must bash monkeys! Cudgel angry now! Monkeys make Cudgel angry, so monkeys go squish! Have another go? Cudgel no laugh! Cudgel need... Cudgel dizzy need... Oh! Oh boy, I gotta... It's canonically in the comic, so I gotta do it again. Hold on. Cudgel dizzy need... Who's laughing now, you big lug? Poor guy, man. Did you see that? K-Rool's really taking the gloves off now. You bet. We better watch out. Yeah, Dixie doesn't look like she's that she's like bored. She's like, yeah, whatever. He wasn't so bad. I mean, that was my headcanon too, Diver. I wouldn't put Cudgel on the level of like not being able to use proper grammar though, but so they narrowly escaped being flattened. Whatever, done is done. The how is a minor matter. From Krim Key onwards, deep into Krimland, and there, where entire hordes of Kremlings wait, our young monkeys will undergo yet further trials. Now, if this is anything like the novel, this is going to be, like, the longest section. I mean, to be fair, it is the best part. Hey, Diddy, check it out! A real fun fair! But, is it going to be fun? I feel like all of these are gonna skip past the bramble parts, because, like, instead of there being a whole bramble world, they're all just kind of, like, slotted into the other areas of the game. And it's never, like, the main focus of an area, so... They're leaving out one of the most iconic locations, but I guess it's because it doesn't really make sense to just kind of randomly throw it in there, like it is in the game. Skull cars. Hopefully not a bad omen. Oh, you scaremonger. Enjoy the ride. Wow, this is intense. Dixie, look out ahead. Heh, this is child's play for us, isn't it? They're so British in this comic, which they were originally German, but whoever localized this made it very British. So I feel like I should be giving them a British accent the whole time. Also, nipple watch up in the upper left, but those aren't like real nipples. These are just like statues, but still. Okay, can you imagine how big those are though? Like considering how big the statue is? Okay, no, okay. So, what if these Kremling statues are actually, like, attractions, and you can, like, get inside them, you know, like, you can explore, like, the inside of them because they're hollow or something. And what if Canon's nipples are, like, you know, like, the Discovery Zone, like, thing where when you were a kid and they would have those, like, bubbles and you could, like, look out the bubbles at everything below? Like, what if it's those? You can, yeah, that's like how they advertise the attraction. It's like, explore Canon's nipples from the inside. Like, just like you always wanted. True, the nipples were not lovingly drawn. It's just the copy-pasted official art of the render of the background of Crazy Kremland, but they are still there, you know? They weren't made fresh for this, but... Yeah, the main attraction. Get up close and personal. Diddy's thoughts on that wild ride are better left unspoken. Suffice it to say. I don't never really know how to say that. He was not exactly filled with enthusiasm. This guy's kind of naked too. He's not wearing his vest. Maybe it like flew off. Somehow it flew off when he was riding this roller coaster, but the hat did not. Wicked! Hey Diddy, what's wrong? You look so green. He doesn't actually look green at all. They could have colored him green a little bit there, but... I feel... I have to... This is like me and Victor riding roller coasters. I'm the one who's super into it, and Victor doesn't want to be there. Hey, look! There are some strange hills over there. Wow, we actually get the zinger part. I actually get to play this song. Yeah, did they pay Canon and Cruncha to use their likenesses? The best way to explore strange hills is to climb them. Yeah, here goes. Blech, so sticky. If that gets into my hair... You know, I never really thought about that, but that would be a major concern for Dixie in these hive levels, is like the honey getting all stuck up in her hair. Because, you know, then her hair won't be flexible anymore. She won't be able to do her spins as effectively, because her hair is going to be all, like, rigid and filled with honey. Yo, Squawks, thanks for helping us. You spared Dixie hours at the hairdresser. Look at this little cutlass. Look at it. Oh my god, look at the spiny, though. The spiny's really good. You know, I don't think my pacemaker makes my heart beat slower. I don't know if that's possible. It only makes it, like, beat faster than it otherwise would, but it doesn't... Well, you know, it might, actually. It's just rarely ever a thing that I would be concerned about. Flying monkeys! That means trouble! Huh? What's this now? Yeah, mess with us and you get it right in the kisser! Squawks! Hold on, wait a second. Okay, no, okay, sorry, wait a sec. He is shooting the eggs from his mouth because Okay, the way that the one... Okay, look at the leftmost egg that's bouncing off the cutlass. The way the action lines are drawn make it look like Squawks is shooting it out of his cloaca there. Like, maybe he is. Is he doing both at once? Is he, like... Does Squawks have the ability to, like, double egg it by, like, shooting one out of his mouth and shooting one straight out of his cloaca, like, at the same time? Just, like... I mean, that's what it looks like. I mean, it is where the egg should come from, yes. I think he's doing both at once. That's skill. Squawks' like internal organs are all kinds of fucked up. Like his reproductive system is connected to his like digestive system, and the eggs can come out the mouth. Like it's it's just all connected in there. Here you are again. Perhaps now you have time to play a little. This is just the same zinger from before. I mean, is it King Zing? The zinger looks bigger now. Did he grow? I mean, King Zing is in reality just a small zinger who can combine with other small zingers to become a big zinger, I guess, so... Oh, it's that flying speech defect, rude. No, we don't have time. Buzz off. Looks like he believes me about the no time part. Cha, we must be very lucky monkeys. Farewell, Squawks. I can't... Yeah, they were just like, we don't have time, bye, see ya. And he was like, okay, well, if you say so. I don't want to bother you or anything. I can't believe he bought it! As the old saying goes, fortune favors bananas, or something. Alright, back to the Gulch. Sorry, I gotta find where Forest Interlude is. There we go. Are we going to see Creepy Crow here, and they have to confront the fact that they actually killed him? Oh, what now? We're facing a chasm as deep as Cranky is old. Got him. Don't we look a couple of right billocks? If I could do a better British accent, I would be reading all of their lines in a British accent, but, you know, I don't want to make a fool of myself any more than I normally do on a regular basis. Ooh, over there! There's ropes everywhere! We'll be over the other side in no time. Again, I know the ghost rope sound effect is on my list somewhere, but it's called something weird, I guess, because I cannot find it. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sad about it. I've got a funny feeling about these ropes. Boo you! You're imagining things. Hey! You're right, these ropes are weird. They're dissolving into thin air. Help! Look at this. Look at this aura farming cutlass here. Love him. Close call. That could have been a real disaster. It was. Sure is drafty out here. Someone must have left the door open. Monkey brats! Ah, a monster! I'm the king's execution! Holy fuck, dude! Master of the double blades! Fear me! The Cutlass is out here, like, chopping off heads. Aha! For a moment I thought, what? You're not taking me seriously, are you? Yeah, his coloration is a little off, but that's okay. I'll show you how to make a whole monkey into a whole lot of monkey bits! Oops, I did it again. He's a big... That was Britney Spears, right? I don't know, I'm starting to lose my, like, pop music I grew up with knowledge. Where's your big talk now, little guy? I don't know, I just love the way he's drawn here in these first few panels. Yeah, I'll add that to the out of context panel collection. I love his eyes too. He's starting to get the K. Rool eyes in this left panel. You little nose picker! Just wait until I get my swords free. I'll make monkey mince out of you. Oh well, we can't wait that long. All the best, monster midget. Ouch, my pride. God, the Kongs are like rude in this. They're saying some shit, man. I thought it was Britney Spears, but then I was, you know, starting to second guess myself. But yeah, he's a big Britney Spears fan. If we keep dawdling like this, Donkey will die of old age. Dawdly Kong. You're right, we should get a wriggle on. Why is it so foggy here? Okay, I'll race you. There's no way I'm losing to you. Dixie? Ah, finally caught you. Diddy, where'd you go? What's going on in these panels? I don't remember the part of the game where it was just, like, foggy and you couldn't see anything. I guess they just kind of, like, used, like, whitener or whiteout or something to make these panels. They needed to fill the rest of this page with, something before they got to the next page for pacing reasons, but they didn't know what to do, so they were just like, fog. Yeah, they turned into a Tetris block over here. I mean, Web Woods is, like, foggy, but not this foggy. Also, if they're not gonna have Squitter in this comic, why bother? Whoa, what just happened? Haven't the foggiest. Something must have caught up to us. Aha! However big the world may be, we'll find you! Eh? Don't bother running, we'll always catch you! Escape! But this time our heroes are faster. Approaching the sound barrier, wow, they rushed aimlessly through the forest until they finally found a safe spot. Ow, 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 I can't feel my legs anymore. Hey, hey, complaining won't do you any good. We have to go on. That looks just like a ship. Rool can't be far. Oh, he's back, but he is not dead. At least I don't think he is. The way, his wings and, you know, feathers and stuff are drawn in this just, like, monotone color is interesting, but he looks fleshy. He does not look dead. He lives. What awful weather. You know what? Boss music time. I think it's time for some boss music. Which... there we go. Watch it! Diddy on your right! Got it! This is getting serious! Wonderful to see you again, children! Your final hour has struck! Oh no, not you again! I don't care, even if you have brought replacements this time. I've had enough! Everyone around here just thinks they can do what they want! Oh, reinforcements this time. I misread that. I mean, everyone around here just thinks they can do what they want. This is their island. They should be able to do what they want, I guess. Let's go, I've had it with this place. Grrr, those monkeys are crazy. Okay, but is he gonna live through this one? I like that this little mini Necky in the back just doesn't even care. He's just like, haha, that was pretty good. He's like, I gotta hand it to him. I'm sorry I went bananas back there, I just... Oh, look! Wow! There it is. Alright, I gotta put the castle music back on yet again. Now, into the final stretch. Whoa! That really floored me. Unlucky. Okay, I could put the ice music on, but it's just like, it looks like it doesn't even make it to the end of this page, so I'm not gonna bother with it. Okay, for real this time. Hiya! They're just going to town. Hup. They're... You know, they had to hurry it along. They only had so many pages left in this comic. So, they're just beating up a bunch of Kremlings and other guys, and... Donkey Kong is hanging. There he is. You know, maybe so, Andre. Maybe so. Jeez, how could I let this happen to myself? I acted like a total amateur. Cranky will really give it to me this time. You can hear that old geezer now. No, that's something else I hear. It must be Diddy. I'm up here, little buddy. Hey, what was that? It sounded like someone shouting. Donkey! Alright. The boy is here, and he looks so cool. Like, this illustration is so good. Like, I love the shading on it. It's awesome. They put an extra amount of detail into this, like, compared to a lot of the other art in this, which is good. The art has been good throughout. I've really liked it, but, like, for the extra dramatic Captain K. Rool appearance at the end, they have, like, I don't know, extra effort, you know? It's awesome. I appreciate that. This is the end, though, I guess. Banana's nothing! When we're done with you, you won't be laughing anymore! I guess this comes first and then this one, which is a little awkward, but technically, if you were reading the comic like left to right and you would see that the speech bubble is coming out of him here, I guess you could maybe consider reading this first, but it's a little, I don't know, a little weird way to set that up there, but... Greetings, fleabags! You must be kidding if you seriously want to rescue this lame ape! You better tell me where the bananas are! Banana's nothing. When we're done with you, you won't be laughing anymore. Alright, and I like the representation of this image of the two of them jamming out. I like that made it into this comic. A 2D version of that. It's very good. Alright. You've heard of the DK rap. Get ready for the Diddy rap. I'm Diddy K, the latest monkey rapper, and K. Rool's gonna crumble like a graham cracker. He took away Donkey while he was in pajamas. Wait, I don't think DK's in pajamas, or that he ever wears pajamas, probably. All because he still craves those bananas. Now we're gonna need all your assistance to fight off any Kremlings who don't keep their distance. Do you want to know how we finish off the captain? Check out Diddy's conquest. That's where it'll happen. The end. So now you gotta play the game if you want to find out the ending for yourself. I gotta say, this comic was like a way more accurate representation than the novel was, and it doesn't go into the destruction of Crocodile Isle only because it finishes here. Like, because if you want to get the true ending, you have to play the game, obviously. And the translation was provided by Caramel Man, so you can thank Caramel Man for the saucy language and amusement of this localization. My friend Milo did a lot of the cleaning, editing, and typesetting, so thanks to them. And Everbloom did assistance and the credits page art, so thanks to all of them for making us able to enjoy this comic, because my German is probably not good enough for me to just read it and translate it as we go, so without some looking up words here and there, of course. Alright. So that's been fun. I think the ads are running. It kicked me into ads. Can you all hear me still, or did the ads start for you? I'm gonna drink my banana juice. Oh, okay. I'm getting an ad report. Well, I will be right back then. So here's the deal, everybody. We still have one more comic to get through, but it's also a decent length. I actually think this one was longer. And then one more, like, fun little comic, which is a lot shorter. But I think I'm going to save them for next time, because I just kind of, like, don't feel like doing them right now. It's been a good 3 hours, and all of the, like, reading and the narration and stuff tends to wear me out a bit. So we can get to them next time before next weekend. I'm hoping I can stream next weekend, but we'll see. We kind of got some stuff going on right now, so don't plan on it for sure, but hopefully next Saturday we will get through the rest of those comics, and then we will look at the... I think we'll go into looking at the player's guide, and then after that some Nintendo Power stuff if we have time. But yeah, so it'll just be... I think I'm gonna do all of that stuff and then look at the, like, concept art stuff last before we go into Donkey Kong Land. So yeah, it'll be finishing off the comics next week, and then the player's guide. So it's been fun. This was a really good comic. I enjoyed this a lot. Like, the art was great. It was surprisingly, like, actually accurate to the game. Except Crow didn't die, but, you know. Good stuff. Fun translation. I'd like to look at it in German sometime and, like, see how much of this was, like, anywhere close to the tone that it had in German versus just kind of, like, inserting some stuff, but, yeah, it's been a good day. I will see you all soon. Thanks for joining. I've done a lot of streaming between, tonight or last night and today, so I'm a little worn out, I think.